aka Mr. Cross. Yeah. Don't be wrapped up in your feelings and be careful when you flashing. And when you play the game, man, you better know your options. Don't try to photocopy when you out here being saucy. It's getting too spicy, I ain't even had my coffee. Don't be wrapped up in your feelings and be careful when you flashing. And when you play the game, man, you better know your options. Don't try to photocopy when you out here being saucy. It's getting too spicy, I ain't even had my coffee. I'm up early in the morning, time to get it in. Time to show and prove, show you what I've been doing. They saying fools rush in, but I'm coming with a passion. I'm trying to get to know you while you thinking that I'm asking. I like to get it poppin', cause my sound is supersonic. I done came so far, and it's early in the morning. I just woke up out my sleep, threw some water on my face. Yeah, it's just another day in the Golden State. Ain't no tossing and turning or time for insomnia. I know the best way to make it is to cut the drama and give it my all and follow through on what I promise. And even if I fail, at least I was honest. See, I can only do what's in my power to do, and what good is this power if I use it like a fool? If I wanna make it to the top, I gotta study clues, or I can sit back and just watch the news. Don't try to photocopy, you could never top me. I was born to be a winner, you can never stop me. Don't try to photocopy, you can never top me. I was born to be a winner, you can never stop me. Don't be wrapped up in your feelings and be careful when you flashing. And when you play the game, man, you better know your options. Don't try to photocopy when you out here being saucy. It's getting too spicy, I ain't even had my coffee. Don't be wrapped up in your feelings and be careful when you flashing. And when you play the game, man, you better know your options. Don't try to photocopy when you out here being saucy. It's getting too spicy, I ain't even had my coffee. I just put my watch on, you know what time it is. I'm chasing my purpose in this music business. Let's get it in, I'm so focused on my mission. There's no competition, there's no excuses for opposition.
All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show.
Listen if I wanna make a difference, cause what I'm doing can be lost in an instance. Now
Let's get this show started, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the show. You know exactly why we are here.
Deja vu when I'm running up these racks. I'm like the Terminator screaming, I'll be back. Deja vu when I first class. It's like every week I gotta take out the trash. I'm on top of my game, ahead of the class. You can tell that I made it.
Look at my grass.
Cars in the garage with tanks full of gas. I play the game so raw, I won't finish.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the show. Shout out.
We made it. This is how it's supposed to happen when you
Get this show going, ladies and gentlemen.
algorithm turned into a maniac.
Yeah, I guess we going viral cause my Zodiac. I got all these numbers on my spreadsheet.
Benjamin Franklin is my bestie. And if they is my ex, that mean they left me.
Let's go.
They don't get replies if they text me.
I say it with my chest cause I'm me. Let's go, ladies and
Got a
gentlemen.
lot of confidence and I'm conceited. Call me the master with a new
Your
whip.
favorite show?
I'ma take off.
Thank
this
you.
spaceship.
Here goes Zeus Hater.
I haven't gone into Zeus's live in a couple of days. That shit was radical. It was horrible. I'm like, Zeus has gone way off
Oh,
It's like
okay.
deja vu.
I like it when,
It's like deja
somebody's
vu.
going off the rails, but I guess
like
it's me.
deja vu.
All right. We're going to go ahead and end that. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we are back in the Thunderdome. Welcome to the show. All right. It's so lovely to see each and every single one of you. Many of you understand why we are once again gathered here in the Thunderdome, all right? Because you know what goes on in the Thunderdome. You know, lightning and sparks are flying everywhere. Anyone can get it, right? But we got to do this in order to save this great country of ours from the evil clutches of you-know-who, this knucklehead right behind me. Yeah, it seems like him and his supporters are hell-bent on destroying all the progress we've made over the past 250 plus years in this country. They're so busy worshiping this man that they're willing to sacrifice all of the freedoms and liberties outlined in the Bill of Rights for this guy. It's the most bizarre thing. And so the way that we do that, ladies and gentlemen, is we just bring an overwhelming amount of truth. All right, and so before I go into that, let's take care of some housekeeping items. For those of you out there, maybe this is your first time tuning into a broadcast like this, let me introduce myself. I go by the name Zeus, or as some like to say, Triple H. And why do they call me Triple H, ladies and gentlemen? Well, it's quite simple. The first H is because I'm honest. I'm the most honest person on social media. There's nobody more honest than me. You know what I mean? You might as well pretend like my hands are resting on a stack of Bibles. That's how honest I am. The second H is, well, because I'm humble. Listen, if I get it wrong, I will be the first to apologize. And speaking of getting it wrong, yesterday I was talking, and we were talking about how Elon Musk gets around $8 million a day through his company Doge and whatnot, right? So someone reached out to me and they said, Zeus, you're wrong. And they said, it's not 8 million. So I looked into it. It turns out we have to say at least $8 million a day. All right. We have to say it that way so that they don't end up getting their feelings hurt, but at least $8 million a day. All right. See how humble I am? All right. And then the last and the final H, ladies and gentlemen, is because you guessed it, I am and will always remain the most handsome. Hey, Chuck, you okay? Hey, Chuck, are you okay, champ? Come on up here real quick if you don't mind. Chuck, I haven't even got started. I haven't began going through my content, but you're in my chat crying this morning, Chuck. Is everything okay? Did I do something to you? If so, Chuck, please come on up here. In the meantime and in between time, Chuck, you know what? I'll do it myself. Hey, Chuck, I just put you in a straitjacket, all right? I don't want you in my chat polluting it with lies and misinformation, Chuck, all right? So the only way out of that straitjacket, Chuck, is for you to actually come in by sending a guest request, all right? So we can actually, see if you could put a little meat on the bone. Other than that, you can keep your crying and all that to yourself. I could care less. And so with that being stated, ladies and gentlemen, now that I understand there are Trump supporters here, I'm on my backup account because, they say I'm too mean on my main account. So I got to dial it back a little bit, but I'm going to continue to still deliver a lot of truth. So Chuck, or anybody else out there like Chuck, let me go ahead and say this. If you do not want me or anybody else that is brave enough to come up into this box and share the truth, all right? Because there's a lot of Americans that listen to this show every morning. And if you are one of these people that when they start sharing the truth, all right, you get emotionally upset, right? You want to spit those Cheez-Its out and spit out that Diet Coke and throw the remote control at the TV because Fox News didn't prepare you for this. If you do not want that kind of experience this morning, do us all a very, very huge favor. Leave this show right now and you could go hang out with those fake TikTok hosts. All right. And I know all of them. All right. I've been in all of the red lives on TikTok. You go hang out in one of those spaces. All right. Because those folks, they'll lie to you. They'll tell you ridiculous things like the pain is eventually going to turn into pleasure. The pain that's coming today because today is supposedly Liberation Day. They'll tell you stuff like that. They'll tell you Donald Trump has secured the borders and now you can cook those mashed potatoes and steaks in peace and leave your door unlocked. They'll tell you stuff like that, even though we know that's not true. Right? They'll tell you that the cost of groceries, right? And your utility bills and your credit card interest is all coming. They'll tell you that kind of stuff to make you feel good. But over here, oh, absolutely not. We won't say anything like that. All right. We're going to actually tell you what's really going on, which is everything that I told you was going to make you feel good. It's actually the opposite of that. And it's going to make you feel very, very terrible. And your wife maybe even want to leave you. All right. So if you don't want to experience that, leave right now because it's going to get very, very, very ugly. But get this. You don't got to take my word for it. Listen to your leader.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
There you go. There you go. So what on earth is happening right now? Obviously, today is Liberation Day. W's in the chat for Ms. V. Thank you for the subscription. I've been searching high and low all over this app to just find one Trump supporter who can actually express how thrilled they are that Donald Trump is ruining this country. How thrilled they are, right, that all the things Donald Trump campaigned on and promised them are actually beginning to happen. I've been searching for that one Trump supporter, and maybe they're out here this morning. If so, I'll stop right now and bring them up. Is there a Trump supporter out there that I've been telling them to do this all week? I've asked you to go outside, stand next to your mailbox, all right, and you wait for that golden envelope from Doge, all right, that has a check inside of it signed by your dear leader and Elon Musk. And it's got at least $5,000 busting out of the wrapper, all right? Is there any Trump supporter out there that has gotten that $5,000 Doge check yet? I just want to double check. Let's go ahead and see who we got out there. Because I don't want to hear anything else about it's coming, or I don't want you to even go bring up Abraham Lincoln and, oh, well, it was Abraham Lincoln that freed the... I don't want to hear anything about what happened in America before Donald Trump was sworn into office. So leave Joe Biden. Who has the money? Who has the $5,000 Doge check? Let me look into the chat real quick. And I gotta be nice this morning because you know what they're doing right now on TikTok. They're saying if you don't dial it back, Big Zeus, we're gonna have to take you down because you're making Trump supporters cry. So, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who may not be able to see what I see, I'm looking in the chat right now. And believe it or not, I got around 600, almost 700 people in here. And I know a good chunk of them are MAGA because they always like to troll me and hate on me. But get this, not one of these folks on this show this morning said, yes, Zeus, I got the Doge check. So I'm going to say this to the Trump supporters. You know what you look like right now? And I got to go ahead and warm up the lake of fire because I love starting the show off, sending somebody straight to hell. And I'm going to send the Trump supporters straight to hell once again because here we are today on Liberation Day. I stayed up all night for Liberation Day. I was all over X, and I'm finding out all those accounts on X, they're not even real accounts. Some of them are actually fake accounts. These are accounts, maybe they're bots or something. Even the bots didn't wake up and say, yay, we got our golden checks from Elon Musk. So once again, the grocery prices are high, utility bills are high, credit card interest is through the roof. We got measles outbreaks. You got people getting fired from the federal government. All of these are things that Donald Trump really never talked about during his campaign, but we knew he was talking about cutting waste, fraud, and abuse, and we were expecting those golden checks in the mailbox. So to the Trump supporters, do us a huge favor. Keep standing at the mailbox and waiting for those golden checks to arrive with the signatures from Elon Musk and Donald Trump, right? And while you're waiting, I'm going to go ahead and warm up the lake of fire for you. Yeah. I'm going to send all of you Trump supporters who are willing to get rid of your Social Security payments, right? Because a lot of you are on Social Security. You're collecting it, right? And you've now said, I don't want the Social Security payments anymore. What I want is a Doge check. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and send these knuckleheads where they belong. Straight to hell. I want to remind to you, the Trump supporters, of this very one thing, and it's the most important thing you should walk away from this show today, but understanding. The reason that I deliver this truth like I do, right, where I don't really care about how it makes you feel anymore, right? The reason we're here is because I actually am an active listener, right? I listen to what your dear leader says about you, right? And I have to remind you, this is what he thinks of each and every single one of the people who still supports him, even though you saw his first term, and you know that his first term, honestly, it wouldn't have been so-called successful if Mike Pence wasn't there, right? W. Kabira in the chat. Everyone knows Mike Pence deserves the credit for Trump's first term because Mike Pence actually cared about this country, all right? Even though I didn't agree with his policy, he made sure you got rid of the folks like Mike Flynn, right? He helped to make sure that investigations that was going on that needed to occur, they occurred. I mean, even though Trump was clearly breaking the law, Mike Pence did a heck of a job keeping this country on the rails despite that, right? But I want to make sure I say this to these Trump supporters. Donald Trump thinks this of you.
You're either stupid or you hate the country.
Let me say this again.
You're either stupid or you hate the country.
Anybody, and I'm not gonna let it go. I'm not gonna let it go. Anybody that showed up to the Capitol on January 6th after it was as clear as day this man lost and went inside of the Capitol and did God knows what on behalf of this man.
You're either stupid or you hate the country.
I don't believe they like to say it was BLM, it was Antifa, it was Nancy Pelosi. Even if it was those groups, or even if it was those people that got you to go to the Capitol and do that, you still are what Donald Trump said. There's no reason he should have been campaigning after he lost to Joe Biden. Anybody that still believes that election was somehow stolen.
You're either stupid or you hate the country.
Y'all still believe this man. Any one of you who sit up here and say, "Oh, those indictments and those convictions, those are weaponized. It's a weaponized government," but then at the same time acknowledge that somehow he's now in charge of this same weaponized government. Any one of you that believes that stuff, something's truly wrong with you. And I also got to say this. I'm staying on topic a little too long, but I want to make sure I say this. Now that I understand that we have a segment of this population, black men, all right, who, I mean, so emotionally unstable, they're vulnerable. A lot of black men are supporting Donald Trump still. And I'm going to keep beating this drum. Wake up. Everybody knows. If you haven't seen what's been happening with the town halls and these special elections, everyone is starting to wake up and realize Donald Trump is dangerous except you. How much money do you think it is worth for you to sell your soul to Donald Trump, knowing that you are on a ship that is sinking and your special behinds can't swim? Y'all look ridiculous. And they doing it because yesterday we found out they think this is how they're supposed to get snow bunnies. I tell you, I'm gonna go ahead and send those brothers out there, and they know exactly who they are. Some of them, I could talk to them because I've been where they're at, and I know that there's a way out of this. But they got to be willing to be honest with themselves. But in the meantime and in between time, to all the brothers and the Latinos out there that are watching all of this unfold, and you are still being loyal to this man, knowing he wears a diaper, knowing everybody else around him is running for the hills, but you want to be the one character in this scary movie that somehow you think when the time is right, either you're going to get away before he gets to you, or you're going to be the hero. I've never seen a black superhero do that. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and send these brothers and sisters and these other people of color who are sitting here still supporting Donald Trump despite the obvious that this man is a danger to himself and them. Let's go ahead and warm up this lake of fire once again and send they special behinds where they belong, straight to hell. I don't care.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
You don't hate me. You don't hate the Democrats. You hate yourself. Has anyone ever told you that? Has anyone? Because I could see it. And what I'll do is, I'll continue to try to be, more engaging and get this point across to y'all. But playtime is over. in case you haven't been paying attention, a lot of you don't have as much time. A lot of you don't have as much time as you think you have. For instance, let me go ahead and share a story with you. You know, yesterday we had Asler up here. Asler, he is a black Venezuelan over 14 years old. And through the checklist we went through together with him, he's definitely eligible to be deported. See, and these people, they don't understand. America has a very, very dark history.
Showdown over President.
America has a very, very dark history when it comes to gender issues and racial issues. But I get it. This is their first time on that roller coaster. All right. And so they're going to find out the hard way that when you allow people whose ideologies tend to be hateful, right? When you allow them to get into power, you're going to get a crash course history lesson in terms of how the United States of America really gets down. And this is what we're seeing. I want to share this story. Two women, they say that they were lied to when the Trump administration, they tried to send them to El Salvador. So it's a double, right? It's women issues, and it is also issues around race and, ethnicity. And this is just another example of how corrupt Donald Trump and his administration are.
Sparked a legal showdown over President. The images sparked a legal showdown over President Trump's mass deportations. Alleged gang members arriving on flights to a notorious prison in El Salvador. And tonight, two women who say they were on those planes speaking exclusively to NBC News.
We were lied to. When we arrived at our destination, that's when they told us we were in El Salvador.
Gemma Moyetones tells us she was arrested by ICE and was expecting to be deported home to Venezuela. Scarlett Rodriguez says she used the Biden administration's CBP One app to get across the border.
We are from Venezuela. We know that airport. And we were like, no, we are not in Venezuela.
Both women say they have no criminal history and are not part of a gang. Consistent with court declarations, she said she witnessed an official push three men to sign papers claiming they were gang members.
And there was a man who said no, that he wasn't going to sign it because he had nothing to do with that. And the official came and said whether we sign or don't sign the paper, they were going to leave us there.
The women are now back at a U.S. detention facility after El Salvador's president refused to take female prisoners. Moyetones says she's worried about her 2-year-old son, left with a relative in Pennsylvania.
I am very afraid because I've always been with my son.
There's now a legal battle over the Trump administration's use of wartime powers for some deportations.
So we're going to stop it right there. These are women, Latino women who've been basically detained illegally, and Donald Trump tried to send them to a mega prison in El Salvador, where we all know their lives were clearly put into danger with no justification. This is, again, another example of why the brothers and sisters out there that are still supporting Donald Trump should get out. They should wake up and get out. All right. So if you're still a brother or sister out there that are still supporting Donald Trump after hearing another story like this, without obviously being able to come to the conclusion that this could actually begin happening to you or someone that you love, I don't know what else to say, but go to hell.
Silence!
Hold on. Ian Taylor says the host is virtue signaling. Ian, could you come up here and explain what you're talking about? I haven't even gone through all of my content, Ian. How am I virtue signaling? Because I'm being descriptive? Do facts hurt your feelings, Ian? Ian, maybe this is your first time seeing Big Zeus in action. Maybe you didn't know I run my show like this, but I got a special message for you, Ian.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S.,
Ian,
if you're complaining all the time,
that's you.
Very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
All right, Ian. Fair enough. All right, I sent you an invite, but clearly you didn't want to get in the box and try to climb climb Mount Olympus this morning. So if I were you, I would just zip it. All right. Because Ian, whether you believe it or not, look at this. No strings attached. I am not a hand puppet like you. W Zeus in the chat, and I saw the comment, and you're right in line with what I have to talk about next, ladies and gentlemen. Ian, you're not a hero, and anybody that supports Donald Trump, you're not a hero, and you're not a patriot. As far as I'm concerned, you're a seditionist, treasonous traitor, and we know what you did on January 6th. You want to know who a hero is, Ian? Ladies and gentlemen, you all saw it yesterday. Our good friend, our dear friend, Senator Cory Booker. He broke the record, longest speech on the Senate floor. All right, and the cause to me is what's most important. I thought, honestly, that I thought I was the biggest, W's in the chat for Dolphin. I thought I was the biggest Trump hater. I really did. I thought Big Zeus was probably one of the biggest Trump haters on the planet. But what Cory Booker did, and I guess he fasted a few days leading into this, and it allowed him to not have to go to the bathroom and do all that other stuff, right? 25 hours straight, unloading round after round. I mean, we're talking about TKO boxing rounds, all right? Just total annihilation of the Trump agenda, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give Cory Booker another round of applause. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and get it on the record. The moment when Cory Booker broke the record. How did you like that? All right, so let's get this on the record, and then we'll go ahead and do another round of applause.
John?
Would the senator yield for a question?
Chuck Schumer, it's the only time in my life I can tell you no.
I just want to tell you a question. Do you know you have just broken the record? Do you know how proud this caucus is of you? Do you know how proud America is of you?
Amen. Go ahead, Cory. Y'all can clap out there, too. This is what saving democracy really feels like. It feels good, right? Standing up to Donald Trump and his billionaire elitist cult members. Go ahead, Cory. This is what democracy looks like. Go ahead, Cory. You did that, brother. Go ahead, give him another one. Trump could never do this. No one in MAGA could do this.
Ladies and gentlemen.
They can't control the demon.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is W for the Democrats. W for the Democrats.
Ladies and gentlemen. Order. The chair does not wish to take away from this moment, but I think the best way to honor this great accomplishment to our guests in the gallery, to make a rare exception and let you stand to show your appreciation, I will not constrain my fellow senators.
There you go.
Thank you. I'm Chuck Schumer. I have yielded for a question, and you asked me, did I know? I know now. I want to not quite wrap this up yet.
Go ahead, Cory. Get a little bit more. See, this is what democracy looks like, MAGA.
I don't want to wrap this up yet. My mom's senator. My mom's been watching. I know Catherine Cortez Masto has a podium in front of her. She can give me a rest. I'd like to go a little further if we can, just a little further. I love, and again, I know people are trying to train each other, and all of our media operations, they give the worst images of the people of the other party. But I want to tell you, one of the funny tweets my staff gave me is something Ted Cruz said. Is he's around 19-20 hours, he said, maybe I should pull a fire alarm. He's going to break my record.
There you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, Senator Cory Booker just broke the record standing up to Donald J. Trump. This is what democracy looks like. This is what being, honestly, a Democrat is like. I mean, I don't necessarily think everyone that supports the Democrat Party really needs to be a Democrat. I think what you should be doing is demonstrating that you are a caring, loving person, right? I mean, this is what America is all about. And he's accomplished nothing but waste time and money. Leah, hey, Leah, come on up here if you don't mind, Leah, because that was rude. Leah, that was rude. You know that here we are trying to celebrate an achievement, and you somehow managed to center yourself in the middle of something that's no one else has achieved, Leah. And I've invited you up here, Leah. Let me do this again, Leah, because when the mods pin the comment, Leah, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cancel it, and then I'm going to send it again. Why don't you just hit accept, Leah, and come on up here and explain how you ended up somehow finding yourself in the middle of all this, Leah. Leah, you don't want to do that? All right, Leah, don't worry. I'm just going to assume, Leah, you're a Russian bot, and what I'll do, thank you, mods. You did the right thing. Put her in a straitjacket. Hey, Leah, maybe this is your first time tuning into this special broadcast, all right? Do us all a huge favor, Leah, and sit your special behind down and keep listening to this special broadcast, all right? W, Zeus. Oh, we got another one. All right, we'll try the one and only. Come on up here. You want to come up here too, or you think we got to do you like we did Leah? It's easy to do. It really is, especially when you start off saying "duh" instead of "the." Oh, I know where you're from. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and put them in a straight jacket too. It's like I said, Leah, and the only one.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave.
You hear that? Why are you still here? Torturing yourselves. I'm not going to let up. you got another thing coming. As a matter of fact, you want to know what else that I'm going to talk about? Many of you saw the special election yesterday in Wisconsin. Could we go ahead and get that on the record? All right. And this is from Morning Joe.
To share some words of the great Honorable Thurgood Marshall.
W. Susan Crawford in the chat.
Which I find fit the unprecedented moment we are living in.
Okay, this was happening in Wisconsin. You saw what happened.
Democracy just cannot flourish amid fear. Liberty cannot bloom amid hate. Justice cannot take root amid rage.
Sure can.
America must get to work. Mm-hmm. In the chill climate in which we live, we must go against the prevailing wind.
Amen.
We must dissent from the indifference.
That part.
We must dissent from the apathy. We must dissent from the fear, the hatred, and the mistrust.
Yeah.
We must dissent because America can do better. Because America has no choice but to do better.
That was Wisconsin's Supreme Court Justice-elect Susan Crawford quoting Supreme Court Associate Justice Thurgood Marshall in her victory speech last night. She told her supporters, courts are not for sale after Elon Musk spent millions in the race trying to defeat her. The Trump White House says there's nothing to see here, but the Wall Street Journal editorial board says there is. And we'll dig into that.
And also, Jonathan, didn't Elon Musk say just a couple days ago that Western civilization would rise or fall with this election?
He did.
If Democrats didn't lose.
He said humanity's destiny rides on that particular seat. So grand stakes. He was clearly willing to go all in, make this a referendum, and they lost.
And they lost. W's in the chat. All right, and a huge round of applause for Susan Crawford. Thank you. But what I'll do is this, ladies and gentlemen, we'll do another round of booze and shame. To all of the people who are still on this ship that Donald Trump is the captain of, and you now see that it's sinking as a result of these recent special elections. What are we, 11 weeks into his administration? And there's a resounding rejection going on in this country against Donald Trump and Elon Musk. No one every American knows when the government starts firing its employees, that is harming the public at large, whether it's the people that are working there directly or the programs that are going to be impacted as a result of these firings. And so this is why they're struggling right now. All right. And but while they're struggling, yesterday Donald Trump posted he posted something on his Lie Central platform, and he attacked his own folks. Y'all saw this yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. Did you see Donald Trump after losing yesterday? Because, you held on to those red seats in Florida, but the margin wasn't as big as it was expected to be, right? It's a third of what they expected it to be, which means they're losing ground. And then in Wisconsin, Elon poured all he could into that, and he still lost. And I'm not going to celebrate, obviously, because, I still think we got a long ways to go. But after all of that, and I'm not going to read all of this. You can go read it for yourself. Donald Trump went on to Lie Central, and he wrote, Mitch McConnell of Kentucky, Susan Collins of Maine, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, and Rand Paul, also of Kentucky, will hopefully get on the Republican bandwagon for a change. Interesting. And fight the Democrats' wild and flagrant push to not penalize Canada for sales into the country of large amounts of that, illegal substance by tariffing the value of this horrible and nasty, in order to make it more costly to distribute and buy. They are playing with the lives of the American people and right into the hands of the radical left Democrats and the blah, 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 blah. I just wanted to call out that Donald Trump is now basically, he's turning on Republicans now. And it goes back to what I've been telling you, Trump supporters. Isn't it funny that everybody is the problem in your cult except this guy? Everybody is the problem. So to the blacks and the Latinos for Donald Trump, I want you to understand, eventually he's going to say you are the problem too. And then where you going to go? Because guess what? It's going to be very hard to come back to the Democrat side and say, okay, please take us back. Because you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say drop and give me 50. And in the meantime, and in between time, once again, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and send all of the Trump supporters once again straight to hell, because they don't see that in this scary movie that they're in, eventually their dear leader is going to turn on them and blame them too. Let's go ahead and send them straight to hell.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
Someone said I need 100 push-ups. Hey. All right, ladies and gentlemen, listen, I think I've connected a lot of dots this morning. Obviously Americans across the country are rejecting Elon Musk, all right, and his presidency, where he basically tells Donald Trump what to do. So what I'm looking for right now are Trump supporters out there. Are there any Trump supporters out there that feel like maybe I've been lying and got some things wrong, that are brave enough to get into the box and actually express how they're feeling? Please let me know. Any Trump supporters out there, just go ahead and put one in the chat. Let me make sure I can see you. Good morning, Ange. All right. And what I'll do is I'll bring you right on up here. Someone said, Crossing, you're doing fantastic. Thank you. Okay, Scott, come on up here, Scott, if you don't mind, Scott, because the people in the chat would love to hear from you, Scott. All right. Democrats corruption. Oh, someone wrote Democrats corruption done went down. Oh, wait a second. Tom, come on up here, Tom. One of y'all could come up here. Go ahead, put a one in the chat if you're a Trump supporter, or actually send me a guest request. And what I'll do is I'll bring you up and let you express whatever it is that you feel like you need to express. Of course, I'm going to push back. Yeah, it might be Scott Jennings, right? And Scott Jennings yesterday, I don't know if you saw it, but He wasn't himself yesterday on CNN after the results of these special elections came in. A lot of real Republicans, they're going, you know what? We better get this together. Tom, Democrats, corruption. You can't talk. Okay, Tom, Tom, I'm going to send you an invite, Tom. And I see you're in the comment section and you're being very, very vocal about corruption in the Democrat Party, Tom. But I'm not getting you to come up here and express where you found that corruption, Tom. So if you don't come up here, Tom, I'll tell the mods to put you in a straitjacket too. And you know what's going to happen, Tom? You're not going to be able to say anything else, because what we don't want is Russian bots in the comment section trying to steal away from other people's opportunity to actually learn. All right, Tom? So either you get in the box, and not just Tom, anyone else out there that feels like they should be able to go and lie in the chat like that, get in the box or zip it. Okay, just ask Nancy or Chuck or Hillary. Okay, come on up here. There's another one right there. Yodon, come on up here. I don't have all morning to do this outreach, MAGA. I really don't. Either you got some real information that we can learn from you and use going forward, or you don't. Look at it. Look at it. They're, you know why they're scared? Because I know where Tom is at. He's probably, in my opinion, he better be outside standing next to that mailbox waiting for that golden Doge check. All right. Let's see, who do we got next? Let's see, ladies and gentlemen. Democrats reject fact. Okay, come on up here, Ed. Ed, you want to come up here? Maybe you could be the first one. Oh, somebody wrote, no need to debate anymore. Yeah, okay. How about this? I mean, it just blows my mind, ladies and gentlemen, that these same knuckleheads, you'll go on this app and they'll have it in their background, libs, request up. All right. Come on, and I go in there, and you know what they do? They try to dogpile, and it doesn't work with me because I know all that huffing and puffing is like that movie or that story about the big bad wolf, right? No need to debate. King Legend. Uh-oh, hold on. King Legend. Oh, King Legend.
Here we go.
You
I'm
vote?
waiting to get up here. I got one question.
You a Trump supporter?
I voted Trump for this time. Last time I didn't vote for Trump, but this time I did.
Okay, well, I want you to know before we get started, I'm assuming you're a brother?
Yeah.
There are a lot of brothers and sisters in here that are already, they're upset with you, and I haven't even heard what you have to say. I want you to understand, cool. And if I don't know if you can handle that before we go further, but I'm going to give you.
That's cool.
I'm giving you an opportunity to say. I'm giving you an opportunity to say. I don't want this energy this morning because it's. I know.
I got one good question.
But I know where this is. I know where this is going.
One question. No, you don't. I promise you don't. I promise. One question. Can I ask you just one question?
Well, what are you going to do? Ask it and then go run?
No, I'm gonna ask the question, and I'm gonna stay here and listen to what you gotta say. All right, here we go. Here's the question. All right, so the Democrats had power for a long time. They had 8 years with Obama, 4 years with Biden, other people, right? Mm-hmm. Now, for all these times that they had power, they said, we don't have money for veterans, we don't have money for homeless people, we don't have money because we gotta pay so much debt, we don't have money. That's all we have to say here. We don't have money, we don't have money. Then we come to find out they sending money for condoms. They sending money for Sesame Street. They sending money to Iraq. They sending money over there. They sending money for migrants. Whoa! Now we got homeless veterans, but we don't got money for them? Whoa! Now answer me that.
Yeah. So I don't know if this is your first time checking in with me, Big Zeus. But in the world that I'm from, right, and you might be familiar with it, you ever heard them say you got a bad batch?
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
A bad batch of what?
You know what I'm talking about. We got to keep it clean on TikTok. For instance, so say you were out and about and you were making a purchase or something, and you thought it was a good purchase, and then you get back home, and then you realize this isn't the real deal. This has been stepped on to a certain degree. It's somebody added something. It's not the real thing. It's not pure, right? You know what I'm talking about? The information you have is corrupted.
Okay, so homeless. So I live in New York City.
So
they've been saying that we can't put shelters for homeless people. We are even for single.
So when you said
and child,
when you said they,
hold on, they said we have no space.
Wait.
When the Democrats, Obama.
Wait. Did you hear what you just
Obama,
said? You said you were going to have the conversation.
Okay.
So when you said they, my ears immediately perked up because I'm curious. Who are they?
This is the 8 years of Obama, the 4 years with Biden. Which
No.
They was in power, right? That was who was in control.
No, the word "they" means you got to be able to give me the name or
The
perhaps a
Democratic
website.
Party.
No.
The whole Democratic Party as a whole. When we ask, okay, for people who need money in shelters, right? For a mother and child that's in the shelter, when they get denied. And
See, I gotta be restrained. Ladies and gentlemen.
So out of nowhere.
Okay, so King Legend, King. I don't want to have to mute you. I don't want to have to mute you, brother. Because you're not even having the conversation.
Okay, go. I'm gonna stay here. Listen.
I've heard this story a lot from folks like you, and what we're finding out is a lot of this stuff is just stuff you hear on the internet, or maybe through a meme on X, or maybe even Facebook, or you hear from. Well, hold on. Well, what did I just say? Okay. What did I just say?
No, because you just said a lot of things I hear.
But are you comprehending? Are you comprehending
what I'm talking about? Personal experience.
Okay, so
not hearing nothing. I'll tell you my experience. You want to hear it?
No, I want you to answer this question. If you have personal experience, what federal grant is paying for all of this? What agency?
Okay.
Or what state agency or what local agency?
I'm gonna tell you my personal experience. Me and my wife and my son, my 2-year-old son, was living in a hotel. Okay, and my wife was a manager in that hotel. Guess what happened? Without telling her, the boss told everybody that they have to leave because all these buses came in and shipped the migrants in.
What hotel?
It's called the West Hampton on Staten Island. I think it's called not West Hampton. It's called the Hilton. Let me look it up. Hold on. It's on West.
You don't know the hotel your wife was working at that you were living in for free?
This was like 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
I could remember addresses I had 4 years ago, bro. I could even remember my old address from when I was a kid. So King,
it's not that serious. I'll look it up for you. Let me just look it up.
Okay, please.
Let me look it up.
Please, thank you.
Hold
on. Because I don't want people getting misinformation, King.
Oh yeah. Hold on. Let me just text my wife. Let me text my wife and ask her. 1 second.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a situation we have going on, and this is why I say black men are in trouble, because King doesn't even understand the boat he's on is sinking. All right, and it's sinking at record speed. I'm gonna be honest, King. You don't even know Trump he's already jumped off the ship and he's heading to safety while he left you on it, and you're still believing Trump is going to come back and get you. It's actually kind of sad. It's kind of sad, King, that we got to continue to have these comments.
Okay, but the Democratic Party allowed migrants to come in, and my wife lost her job, and we had to move. I'm gonna give you the hotel name right now.
King. I want
to. What happened to me?
King. I want to
come on the buses.
King, how old are you?
New York.
How old are you, King?
Staten Island, New York. I'm 34.
Okay, so I've been doing this for this whole week. I'm gonna tell you some things that the Democrats have done, and then I want you to tell me how it makes you feel. Are you there, King? Because I don't know where your wife is at, and I gotta be very, very respectful on TikTok because you know what they want to do to me. King, are you there? Your wife isn't.
Yeah. I'm waiting for her to text me
Okay,
back.
so let's just listen to this. The Social Security Act. You know about Social Security. You know who gave that to you? Democrats. The Civil Rights Act. You voted, right? You voted, right?
So
no,
It's
King.
called the Holiday Inn Express on Staten Island, New York. Holiday Inn Express, Staten Island, New York. Look it up.
Okay.
Holiday Inn Express, Staten Island, New York, West Shore, Staten Island, New York. And then tell me I'm lying.
No.
And we lived there. And she got kicked out, and all the migrants came in with bus loads. And we looked at them like, wow.
Okay, King, can I ask you?
No nothing?
King.
Wow, okay, Biden.
A holiday. I'm just reading him. Upcoming closure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm lying though, right? Oh, no personal experience, right?
Hold
It's
on,
all
hold on.
lies, right? Yeah. Let you tell it. I'm saying I'm getting mad just thinking about it. What you talking about?
So I'm just reading. It says, okay, so this
fires.
Hold on.
I'm emotional.
Is it the one at 300? It's the one at 300 Wild Avenue.
What? Yeah, yup.
All right, so I'm looking at it, and Mayor Adams said he's announcing that it's going to be closed, but also this and 13 other shelters. It says the city plans to close these shelters by June of 2025. The reason, the administration cited a decline for the city's migrant population and the successful management of the crisis as the reason for the closure. And so what I'm not getting out of this is why do you think Biden is responsible for this?
Because he had the chance to stop the border. He had the chance to say we're not going to fill the hotels. He had a chance to stop it. He's the Democrat in power.
Well, how did these migrants
the Democrat in power.
Do you know how they got to New York? How did they get to New York?
He is the Democrat in power. It doesn't matter all the other questions you asking me. I told you, and then you said it's not a personal experience. I just see, and then
you don't care that Republican govern a King. You don't care that the Republican governors King. You don't care that Republican governors were busing them to New York.
I don't care.
Okay, so
now they going though, right? But
okay,
now they going. The same Republicans is kicking them out though, right?
Okay, so
Biden kicking them out. It wasn't Obama kicking them out, right? Matter of fact, Obama did kick out a lot of people.
Okay,
so Obama.
Okay, King. So here's the deal. Here's the deal, King.
Mm-hmm.
You believe everything Donald Trump says, right?
I don't believe everything.
Okay. So let's walk this through together. How did King? How did they get to New York? We agree it was Republican governors sending them to New York, right?
By Texans, the Texans.
Yeah. So and these are Republican governors that were basically openly defying what Biden was trying to do. Right?
What was Biden doing? Allowing them in?
No, he was actually trying to get a bipartisan border bill passed. Ever since he got in office,
laundromat cards, and then let them wash their clothes, and then now they got prepaid cards and cell phones.
What?
But there's homeless veterans, but they got prepaid cards to wash their clothes.
How about this?
But there's
King?
Homeless veterans.
How about this, King?
What happened to the homeless veterans?
How about this, King?
We don't have money for the homeless veterans.
What I'll do is this, King.
We got money for migrants.
Jesus Christ, King. I didn't want to have to mute you. So, King, Biden deported more migrants than Donald Trump ever did. All right. Look at the deportation numbers. What you're not understanding, King, is that the Republican Party, they set you up to actually think this was something the Democrats was doing when it really wasn't. It was them. They're the ones that are creating this problem, and you don't seem to get it. And then you want to start talking about them draining resources. President Biden has done a lot for our veterans. You know about the PACT Act, all right? Who's the one right now actually canceling benefits and firing veterans? It's Donald Trump. Who's the one taking taxpayers' money and spending it on immigrants right now and not even giving them due process, in some cases using it to actually send and harm citizens? It's Donald Trump. Who's the one cutting the federal funding for all these health agencies, King? That's supposed to be helping Americans. King. You know why I don't? King. Jesus Christ, King. I won't let you say it like that because I gotta stop you. You're so busy sitting up here attacking immigrants without being open-minded about how these same immigrants that you think are a problem are actually allowing you to live in the country you're living in and get what you get at the rate you're getting it at, King. Do you know what immigrants contribute to this economy at all, King?
My dad is a Haitian immigrant.
So your dad is obviously in this country illegally then, right, King? So this is what I mean when I King. So King, I'm going to say this. That means you are a descendant
a hater.
Yeah. I'm your worst nightmare. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So that I'm going to go ahead and do what I got to do to you, King. King, you are, as Donald Trump says, and you know, I got to be restrained. I tell you, I got to be restrained. Oh my God. But King, this is what Donald Trump honestly thinks of you.
You're either stupid or you hate the country.
All that noise, King, that you bring up here, You didn't say anything about how Donald Trump is actually helping you right now. You're so busy attacking people, the most vulnerable people. And then I think what bothered me the most is that you actually said your father is an immigrant, a Haitian immigrant. So this means you were able to come into this country and benefit from American people's taxpayers' money, right? Then I heard you say, well, you know what? I was staying in a hotel, the one that the immigrants was staying in. I was able to stay in there for free. And then they let me and my girlfriend go. Okay, so that's why you're upset, because the free ride is over for you. You're not a king. Now that I think about it, a king doesn't move like that, brother. I'm gonna be honest with you. You should have been able to set up shop somewhere else in America where issues like that wouldn't even been on your radar because you was actually taking care of yourself. So, King, what I want to know is, why were you in spaces like that, right? It seems to me like you're upset because you had to share your spaces, and that's a personal issue, King. And I don't want to get too deep into it, but I'll just say this, King, you're wrong, and hate is in your heart. Right. And when you have hatred in your heart like that, what ends up happening is you start lashing out on everybody else instead of taking accountability for your own failures. You shouldn't be letting your woman take care of you and stashing you in a hotel like that from the very beginning. You don't make enough money? Well, you know, the Republicans are sending the immigrants to stay in the hotel you was staying at. But your special behind turns around and blames the Democrats. You can't make this stuff up. And like some people say, you can't fix stupid. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and warm up the Lake of Fire. I'm trying my hardest, ladies and gentlemen, to hold back, because you know what they'll do to me. I won't do it, but I'm pretty sure someone in the audience will. But I'll do this, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and send King, deranged King, who thinks he's a king, living in a Holiday Inn Express. Let's go ahead and send him straight to hell.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
And King, and I'll be honest, I could care less if President Biden was providing housing, food, water, and shelter to immigrants using taxpayers' money. I could care less, because as far as I'm concerned, that's not waste, fraud, and abuse. That is what I call being a good person. W to the Democrats. Because guess what, King? When you go and meet your maker, right? When you go meet your maker and you got to take account of all the things you've done on this earth. We all know we've never been perfect from the very beginning. We've all made mistakes. But I think that will say, you know what? He looked after those who are less fortunate. All right. And King, here's the other thing. We can take care of immigrants and the American people at the same time. You do know that we do have the capacity to do both things. So it's not that the money was not being spent properly, King. It's that your priorities just aren't the priorities most people want to support. All right. And that's something you got to work on. Go to school, try to get an education, and don't just listen to respond. Listen to learn. W Zeus in the chat. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and let me go ahead and bring up my a mutual. All right. I'll bring up a mutual. All right. Because they can go further than I can with this stuff. Hi, Brother Swerve. How are you doing? Nice to see you, brother.
You too, my friend. Always a pleasure to be back in the kingdom with you all.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to ask something of MAGA, because I've been on this app for about 6 years now. Whenever the Tiger King came out, that's when I got on the app.
Okay, I remember that.
Okay, and I got on because I was bored, and I started cruising through videos, doing my cooking thing. You know, they started doing cooking and politics, all of that good stuff. You know, the one thing that I've never seen on this app, when MAGA comes up here and they complain about houseless veterans, not a single one of them ever made a video about it. For me, it's the phony outrage. So MAGA, stop using my brothers and sisters as some kind of political football. Because one, you make yourself look dumb, especially those of you who never served. As a combat veteran of the United States, I have served. And nothing grinds my gears more than when they decide we can use this as a political talking point. And so they come up here and say, what about our houseless veterans? Well, you know, it was George Bush who gave the largest military pay raise to our active duty personnel in the history of this country. You know who gave the second largest pay raise to them, Zeus?
Tell them.
President Biden. President Biden. It wasn't Trump. And then when he sits here and talks about we didn't have no money for veterans. Well, I believe the Vets Choice program was created under President Obama. After, I think it started in 2010 with a pilot program. They got such great feedback on it from the veterans. It cost billions upon billions of dollars to implement it. And President Obama signed it into law in 2014.
Wow.
You know what Donald Trump did? Because the Republicans put an expiration date on that law. They said this is the only way we'll pass this. So when Donald Trump gets there, that's when the law was set to expire. So he changed the name of it and then made the claim that he created the program.
Wow.
With Bernie Sanders and John McCain, who was already unalive. John McCain had already passed away.
Wow. King, are you listening?
So I wonder how you can sit here and say that Donald Trump did all this for the veterans. Right now, they want to remove $119 billion away from the budget of the veterans or the VA system.
It's
right?
sad. It's really sad, Swerve, to see these knuckleheads get up here and do what they do like that.
Yeah.
King, you want to come up here and talk to Swervin? You can try to, but you got to be respectful.
And
you got to be respectful. You can't just go on these rants.
I'm going to tell you like this. When he sits here and he says that now all of a sudden he's worried about veterans. And like you said, he lost his free ride. So now it's a problem, right? And a lot of these places that they claim were used for migrants, it was in the middle of winter when schools were closed. So they put the migrants in there. They put them in
sheltering
hotels that had already closed down.
Yeah.
So
Swerve, what he wanted to see was during the coldest winters, it gets cold in New York when it's right. He wanted to see the people that the Republicans sent to New York freezing in the streets.
Yeah.
And that would have just made him feel good while he's posted up in a hotel with his boo, all right, grifting off of the company. Because he didn't say he was cashing the hotel out, paying them big money to stay there. He said she basically kept him in there on the under.
On the DL. Yeah. But that was cool. That was cool for him.
Right.
But not nobody else. You know, it said rules for me, not for thee kind of thing.
Let me ask the ladies out there, any Trump supporters okay with taking care of a grown man like King, putting him in a hotel like that? I want to hear from you. Go ahead and send me a guest request. All right, sorry, Swerving. Because I know a lot of women that are saying, I am not taking care of no 36-year-old grown man.
Right. Right. Especially if
Red Lady Red, you would?
if you date me and you want me to come visit you at your house and your house is actually your mama's basement. I'm not rocking like that. Okay? It just ain't going down like that. But, you know, when they use our veterans as political footballs to try to get some point across, they are very big on talking about the 13 soldiers or 13 service members that we lost during the pullout of Afghanistan. But they won't say anything about the 65 plus that we lost during Donald Trump's presidency. They won't say anything about the fact that out of those 65 plus, he only went to one dignified exchange, made himself look like a fool by telling the widow, well, he knew what he was signing up for. Then turn around and blamed Obama for what happened. This man will accept no responsibility. And I'll give you two quick examples, Zeus.
Go ahead, Brother Swerve.
He was asked about the signal leak. Well, I don't know anything. He didn't know anything about that, but he knew everything there was to know about the journalist, the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic. He knew everything about him, right?
Yeah.
He's recently been asked about the four soldiers who've been unalive, the four service members, who's been unalive in Lithuania.
Yep.
I don't know anything about that. But I guarantee you at some point he's going to go, it was a Biden plan.
Wow.
I guarantee you. So are we really shocked and surprised now when he says he didn't know about something? I'm not.
I'm not either. We know he's lying.
As a leader, as a leader, it's a crying shame that he can't accept responsibility for anything.
That part.
Let me give you one more quick example, brother, and then I'm gonna drop down. Okay.
All right, W Swerve in the chat. Seriously,
thank you, everyone.
You got to show love to our real veterans out there that are still being soldiers, saving this country. All right, he's still in a war right now. It's just a different type of war. The misinformation and the disinformation by the Trump administration.
Oh, I'm gonna stay in this one till I earn me a congressional medal of honor.
Amen, amen. I appreciate it. Yeah.
So let me give you this one quick example about security. Okay, operational security. People keep throwing this word around, OPSEC, right? Operational security. That means before we go Oscar Mike on mission, before we go Oscar Mike, there's a 48-hour radio blackout. That means nobody is communicating about the upcoming operation in any way, shape, or form unless they are standing face-to-face talking.
Got it.
That's the only way. Yet they are on an unsecured app talking about what time it's going to happen, what time the first boom booms will fall, talking about the ordnance that the aircraft are carrying. So maybe they don't have the technology to disable the ordnance with a frequency or something, right?
Yeah.
But they do have the technology to put. They read those text messages somewhere else, and now they're putting SAM sites in place.
Wow.
Air missiles.
Wow.
So they're preparing, right?
Yeah.
And let's say they don't have those SAM sites. Well, they can go hide somewhere else. They can just get out of the country. So none of them will be affected. So knowing this as an active, if I was an active duty service member, if I was part of special operations, or if I was one of these pilots in the aircraft, imagine I'm a half a world away, getting ready to go on mission. But I know on the other side of the world, the people who are supposed to be in charge of security are leaking details of what we're about to do for anybody to be able to hack into.
Pure ignorance.
It's just sheer stupidity.
Yep.
And I don't know if you heard this yet or not, Azus. This was brought to my attention yesterday afternoon after I woke up from infusion therapy. Somebody, they're trying to investigate the Trump administration right now for using their personal Gmail accounts to conduct government business.
Wow.
So this is a violation of security all the way around.
Unprecedented. And it's like they don't care. These are this is the most incompetent, dangerous administration we've ever seen. And you know what? We got to keep holding them accountable, brother. But you know what?
Exactly. And this is what they do, because how many times have we heard, oh, well, what about Hillary Clinton's emails? If you're dumb enough to believe that this woman printed out 30,000 emails and then poured bleach on them, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, that part.
I really don't know what to tell you, but that's what they believe. I can't change their beliefs. Nothing I say will ever change their mind.
Well, we're going to continue to deliver this truth, and hopefully we'll wake them up out of that nice little cult that they found themselves. All right. Well, listen,
I'm gonna go ahead and bounce. My caregiver is here.
All righty then.
And, she takes very good care of me. I'm not gonna lie.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm gonna just say she's listening to us right now. So
tell her we love her and thank her honestly for everything that she is doing and helping to keep you engaged in saving this country. W to Swervin' and W to his therapist.
But she's taking good care of me. So listen, before I go, I am digging the Drill Baby Drill.
Fair enough.
Every day.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you one thing. When you play that soundbite of Trump saying you can leave the country,
right?
Is there any way you can edit in there where he says you can leave the country, you can leave right now, and move to Russia?
I don't know how to do that, but that would be hilarious. That would be hilarious because that's where MAGA really, that's the only place I believe we should send them, especially folks like Red Lady Red and that guy that came in here who's not such a king living in a hotel. They definitely should go to Russia. W Swerve. All right.
Let me get out of here, brother. Dude. I love you, man. I love the kingdom. Thank you all for having me back. And as I always tell you, everyone, please be well, be safe, and doggone it, have fun while you do it.
Amen. Amen, ladies and gentlemen. Another round of applause. W Swerving. No lies detected. So I'm looking for more Trump supporters. I noticed I saw Stacy. Stacy, where did you go? I was actually, Stacy, going to bring you up because it's very unusual, Stacy, for you to come to Big Zeus's live and actually send a guest request. W, Rick. Stacy she's a MAGA woman, loves Donald Trump like you wouldn't believe it. She would do anything to get a chance to smell her diaper. And I just saw her in my guest request. Stacy, go ahead and send Big Zeus a guest request, all right? I would definitely, I wanted to know what made you come out of hiding, all right? Let's go ahead and move on, ladies and gentlemen. If you're a Trump supporter, please put a 1 in the chat and I'll bring you right on up here. All right, yes, Stacy, get in the box, Stacy. Don't all of a sudden say, you know what, Zeus, I'm having second thoughts. I'm getting cold feet. All right, that was mighty bold. That was mighty bold. All right, because she knows the truth is here. Let's see. Yeah, I do see red, Lady Red. I'm not coming in your box. Oh, I'm not coming in your box. Oh. Okay, that'll get you an invite. All right, Lady Artist. Could you send me a guest request? Because I can't send you a guest request. All right, but you know, I want them to go find Stacy and tell her to come on back here. I wanted to hear what she had to say because I'm ready to see if she's willing to get out of the cult today. All right, let's see. W Zena in the chat. All right, well, I guess put a 1 in the chat if you're a Trump supporter, and what I'll do is I'll bring you up, and honestly, try to be respectful when you get in the box. Like, I honestly get it, right? Especially to the brothers out there. I understand a lot of you brothers, you don't know what success looks like, feels like, or smells like. And so when you get onto a show like this and you see all these people in here, you can't help but defaulting to that primitive mindset, which is I got to get mines while I got the opportunity to get it, right? And so they get up here and then they start just ranting and raving, pushing their own agenda. W Marissa in the chat. All right. They get up here and they start ranting and raving, and then all of a sudden trying to do, oh, well, you know what? I'm selling shirts, Zeus. That's really what I'm here. You don't got to do all of that. People want to see why, honestly, you still are supporting Donald Trump, despite the fact that everything that's going on around you says you shouldn't be. And you're the last group of people, honestly, that it's the poorest of the poor. You know, it's not just financially poor. It's you have a poor mindset. You don't care about yourself. W Kabira. You don't care about yourselves enough. All right. To actually walk around here and show people that, hey, I still should be respected, you know, and this is why you keep getting disrespected. King, I'm going to tell you right now, get out of a hotel, quit laying up underneath somebody else and expecting them to take care of you and think that you look like a better person going after folks who are less fortunate than you are. At least the people who are immigrating into the country, they're coming in and they're actually trying to contribute. I mean, yeah, you got some out here who may be doing things illegally, and those people need to be dealt with. But for the most part, if you're a thinking person, you would also have to recognize that these folks are actually actively contributing to the society in ways you aren't. All right. There is nothing wrong with getting up off your special behind and getting a job. W Zeus in the chat. I mean, I don't want to attack Black this morning, but we might have to attack Black. W Rick in the chat. Nothing grinds my gears than to see a lazy brother sitting on his you-know-what, talking crazy about somebody else. All this opportunity you got in the United States of America, your ancestors, they fought for you to have the ability to get up off of your behind and get out here and work. And y'all sitting out here, I can't make it in this country because of the immigrants. That is the most bizarre thing I have ever heard in my life. You can't use that excuse with me, Big Zeus. You could use that perhaps with your lady or your whoever you're dating. They might go for that. But I've seen way too much in this country to buy that nonsense. Like I said, you got a bad batch. W Zeus. Zeus, I'm posted up at the DoubleTree. And yeah, we in here on the under. Yeah, she working. No wonder they let her go. You got her. Now that I think about it, and I didn't want to go off topic, but now that I think about it, no wonder they let her go. Ma'am, is that? Oh, so you think we gonna let you sit up in here and lie about all the numbers? Because we see who's going in and out of this hotel. We got cameras, but this room isn't paying anything. And then we see you and this person always doing. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get rid of you because you won't be honest and admit that you're in here stealing. You want to know where the real waste, fraud, and abuse was? The theft. Oh, it's staying in somebody's hotel without paying. That's stealing. And then you're going to turn around and say, oh, it's not me, it's them. At least they came, and if there was money being used, then they weren't stealing. All right? They weren't stealing. Whatever program was put into place to fund them to be able to stay there, hey, they was adding to the pot. W. Zeus, now that I think about it. Let me go ahead and bring somebody else up, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Who do we got up here? Because what I don't want to do is ignore foolishness either. And I got to be respectful on this app. Good morning, Boom Shakalaka. That's a nice name. You know, that used to happen when I used to play, what was it, NBA Jam? They used to do that?
Sir.
Yes, all right. Now, you put a 1 in the chat, and I'm assuming you know King?
No, I don't know him personally.
Oh, no. But you were supporting him.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I love it. Why?
Absolutely. Because
you support him. You support him staying in a DoubleTree,
and
not paying.
And you doubted the brother, and he brought receipts.
Oh.
And let me say this, and I think that's the disconnect, especially with Kamala Harris supporters when it comes to this immigration crisis. We don't know what this brother went through. I don't know. I've never met him before in my life.
Okay.
He could have gone through a felony. He could have been out of work.
You're talking about King?
The guy that came up right
okay,
before.
His name. We're gonna call him King because that's what his first name. Okay, so yeah, I don't know that. You're right.
Right. So we don't know. Let me finish, please. I'm very respectful. You'll see. I don't cut anybody off or anything like that. I'm very, very respectful.
Yeah, me too. I'm one of the most fairest, respectful hosts too. So we got that in common. But yeah, please continue. Please continue.
Yeah. So we don't know what that brother went through. We don't know if he had an injury. We don't know. And you immediately threw him under the bus. You called him lazy, et cetera, et cetera. And see what's happening. The people are coming over the border. We don't know what their situation is either. We have no clue what their situation. A lot of these people could be felons. They could be murderers. They could have gone through some stuff, et cetera. But we're willing to open the door without these people getting vetted and give them a brand new opportunity, new social security, new identity, new et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But for our own people, we're willing to turn our back on them, call him lazy because he has to live with his wife in a hotel, et cetera. And this is the disconnect between Democrats and Republicans. We're saying America first. You guys are saying Americans last, immigrants first. And that's the problem, sir.
All right.
Go ahead.
Thank you. And you are very, very respectful. And I just want to encourage you to actually really revisit that. Because honestly, that's not what the Democrats are saying. What we're saying is you have to treat people like they're human beings. And we need you to follow the laws. That's to me what I'm getting. I don't want the president of the United States illegally taking away people's rights and subjecting them to torture. Do you? Let's just say you have a valid point. Let's just say a woman and her children, they are in this country illegally. Let's just say that happened. Do you want to know that the leader of this country would grab this woman and put her in a detention center and tear her away from her kids and basically subject her to being abused in ways, you and I would know if we seen it happening in our real life, we would stand up and say, that's bad, right? Because I'm going to be honest with you. If you seen an immigrant getting disrespected and she's a woman and a dude beating on her, wouldn't you step up and say, that's not a good idea?
Absolutely.
So what I'm doing is tugging at that moral fabric inside of you, because the issue transcends you and I. It really goes back to understanding that if you allow them to do that, to one group of people, it's eventually going to end up happening to you because it's already happened like that in the country. So I just wanted to say that to you because it's not about America first, more so than it's about being a good person.
Well, absolutely. But I haven't seen any women and children get abused by any Americans. I haven't seen that. I have heard stories of them getting abused by the cartel when they were coming over here. But as far as Americans and our justice system abusing women and kids,
they're doing that. They're doing that. You heard about the families being separated before under the Trump first administration, right? You hear, and I just played a story. 2 women said that they were lied to by the Trump administration, and they thought they were going to be sent to Venezuela, but they were sent to the MAGA prison in El Salvador. And their child, she has a child, 2 years old, staying in Pennsylvania. This is really happening, and I love that you said you don't see it, and I think that's the best way they're getting away with it, right? They're doing all of these evil things behind the scenes, but these stories are now starting to percolate to the top, and now you're going, oh, you just went and grabbed some random guy who's a father without giving him due process, and your justification is an administrative error. Hold up. I don't know about you, brother, but I don't feel good knowing that this country I'm living in is doing that.
Okay, so you brought up that guy. That guy came over here illegally in 2019, and they said he was connected to that gang. They said he was connected to that gang. You brought up 2 other women that may have been connected or put in prison or something like that, unjustifiably or whatever. That could have happened. So we named 3 or 4 people that could have happened. What about the women Americans that have been assaulted in mass numbers by these people that came over here the last 4 or 5 years? You're not talking about that. The women that have got unalived by these people that come over here like that. See, that's what I mean. And these were American citizens that lost their lives to these people that came over here the last 3 or 4 years. Now, you brought up something earlier about the immigrants. They add to our to our system, and they add to our economy, etc. And I agree with that. Prior to the last 4 years, I would agree with that. Me and you were on the same page with that. But what happened these last 4 years, we brought so many influx of people that were not vetted, that Joe Biden invited over here, the most number of people coming over here ever, and it's not sustainable. If you do a quick Google search, you'll see we have 7.5 million jobs available in America. Most of those jobs aren't for people in the fields picking strawberries or cleaning out our hotels. So what we brought in over the last 4 years were a bunch of people, 10, 12 million people, whatever the estimate is, that we have to take care of. And what you see now is New York going broke. You see California going broke. You see Chicago going broke because of the influx of immigrants coming in. I think prior to this Biden administration changing the executive order on day one, allowing these people to come over, I would say, yes, Zeus, you're completely right. But this was too much all at the same time, and it's not sustainable.
Okay. I disagree. I actually understand that this nation was built on immigrants. And if that's how it got started, you can't say, well, all of a sudden now it's a problem. That's the story of America, right? Since day one. Some of us were forced to be here, but this is what makes America the land of opportunity. And I believe if you actually continue to grow the economy, you're going to continue to make more and more opportunities for people. And so what Biden did, in my opinion, was, remember when the C-19 thing happened and the economy was basically heading towards a very nasty situation. And I'm talking real businesses that existed were closing down, right? And some of them, they haven't returned. And we lost a lot of manufacturing jobs and things like that, right? And so what Biden did with Build Back Better and a lot of the other legislative acts that he passed, like the Inflation Reduction Act and the infrastructure package, what he did was he began to reinvest in the economy. And this allowed for a lot of businesses to start opening their doors and hiring people. Like take, for instance, what I heard about the story in Springfield, Ohio with those immigrants, right? Those are people who were willing to do the work that most Americans wouldn't want to do, but they were able to fill that void for that business and actually help contribute to this economy. I'm not saying that I don't think that there are people coming to this country illegally. I believe that there are people coming into this country illegally. And I'm not saying that some of those folks might not actually be committing crimes. I believe, honestly, that there are people in this country who are here illegally and that they are committing crimes. So I agree with you on that. But I can't help but wonder, brother, how is it that you feel like you should be able to take some sort of moral position on this when you said there aren't any Americans hurting women, but we have a commander-in-chief who we've seen through court records has hurt a lot of women, and you supported that, right? You're supporting a criminal. And this is where the divide happens now, because you to me sound like a very intelligent person, but maybe you're not aware that to me you sound like a hypocrite. And I don't want to just say that, because I'm taking a jab at you, but it's the hypocrisy that just, to me, leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And I go, wait a second. I don't think it's acceptable for a person to demonize someone for being a criminal and then turn around and go vote for the biggest criminal we've ever had. I mean, he's harmed women. That's been adjudicated whether you like it or not. And it's not just one. 26 other women have actually done that. He's been impeached twice, all right, while he was president the first time for basically breaking the laws. Then after his presidency, he left, starting an insurrection. I think I hold him responsible for that, in which Americans actually attacked law enforcement officers using physical violence in some instances. So this is violence. This guy brings that. And after he's out of the White House, he gets indicted on multiple fronts. And in one case, like I said, he was actually criminally convicted. So how do you try to convince people across the country that it's okay for you to vote for a criminal, but then have a problem with criminals?
Here's the disconnect again. You guys tried all of this. Everything you said right now, you guys tried all of this, and you tried to run on it, and you lost. Everything you're talking about right now, you're talking about criminal convictions.
Did I lie?
I'm just telling you what you said. That's what you said.
But you didn't answer my question, brother.
I'm answering you. Everybody saw what you got, what they did, and we decided to vote the other way. So what does that tell you?
It tells me you're a hypocrite. Oh, I thought you were asking me a question.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I didn't say anything while you speak. I tell you, I will not interrupt you. That tells you that this administration was this bad that we decided to ignore that. Now, I've been following politics since I was 10 years old, and what I've seen them do to every president, probably the only president that I can remember that they didn't find one to take down was Barack Obama. When it comes to a woman, they've gotten a woman to try to take every president or every presidential candidate down in the final two. Within the final two, I've seen them try to do that over the last 30 years. That's nothing new. The difference this time is that, and the reason why stuff stuck with with Donald Trump, because they're all a bunch of crooks. All politicians are crooks. Because this man was not part of the good old boy network. He was not he was not a politician. And he came in, they knew he was going to come in and shake things up. And he had Democrats as well as Republicans going against him. So they threw everything at the wall to stick to try to get rid of this man. They did a poll. They did a poll with the people, and they said, if this man was a felon, would you vote for him? And a third of the people said no, they would not vote for them. So they ran on that. They pushed Joe Biden. They knew this man was in cognitive decline. They thought we could ruin this man's reputation and or throw him off of jail and or take him off of ballots, and we can take the election even if Joe Biden is walking around in circles. We can do that. But it all backfired. What America and Republicans like me woke up and said, we see what you're doing to this man. All these politicians are a bunch of crooks. You can convict any politician on 100 charges if you have the cooperation of Democrats as well as Republicans. You can do it for anyone. But they came after this man, Democrats as well as Republicans, because they don't like him. and Donald Trump talks a lot of shit. So I get it for some people.
We keep it clean now.
I'm sorry. He
okay, well listen.
I get it, but it did not work. So here's the thing. You want to say that, but I like black people. I love black people. But you guys voted for a man in Joe Biden that wrote that 1994 crime bill and that affected millions. I'm almost finished. I'm gonna land.
Because you're doing that thing again.
Okay. No. Because you went off topic. We were talking about immigration, and you went down.
Yeah. We
different
can't.
roads.
No. I just responded to what you said, and again, the show is limited. We don't got all the time to keep going back and forth. All right, and then I'm gonna.
This is my last comment, and I'm gonna give it. You guys ignore that. This affected millions of black people for generations, and you're worried about a felon. You're worried about this man doing a paperwork error. So no, you guys put Joe Biden in office, who ran with the Triple K, who all his best friends were Triple K, and he locked millions of black people up. You ignore that. You're worried about a paper error with Trump.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right.
I'm going. I'm done.
All right. You know what? My question to you was simply, how do you expect us to take a person like you serious when you voted for a criminal, right? And then you're out here saying you have a problem with criminals. And your response was, everybody is crooked.
All politicians are crooked. Absolutely. It ain't one that ain't.
Okay.
It's not one it isn't.
So a logically thinking person will say, well, clearly you don't have a problem with people being crooked.
They're all crooked.
You don't have a problem with people being crooked.
Of course I do, but I'm saying they're politicians.
You can't have it.
The reason why they're all mad at Doge.
So let me make sure I clarify this. You're okay with people who are crooked as long as they are politicians.
No, I'm acknowledging that all politicians are crooked. So it's hypocrisy to point at Donald Trump.
Let's slow this down. Let's just slow this down. Do you have a problem with crooked politicians?
I think it's part of the game. I think
that's a yes or a no.
No, because I know they're all crooks.
Okay. So let's So let me repeat, because I'm doing an exercise with you. I'm actively listening to you.
That's fine.
Boom says he has no problem with crooked politicians.
They've all. If you've been following politics,
no.
Crooks. When I vote,
just say yes or no. So you don't. So you clearly on the record, huh?
Kamala Harris is a crook. They're all crooks.
So you don't have a problem with Kamala Harris then?
I have a problem with her as being president, but I know she's a crook. She's a politician.
Okay, so then your narrative, the story you're selling me, bro, is not sticking, and this is why I have a problem with you. The correct answer should have been, I don't have a problem with Kamala Harris, because your logic says you don't have a problem with crooked politicians.
I said I have a problem with her being president, but
but remember, my question wasn't, do you have a problem with her being president? I asked you specifically, do you have a problem with crooked politicians? That's a yes or a no, bro.
I said no. I said they're all crooks. I answered it 4 times.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. They're all a bunch of crooks.
So for the record, Boom, I want you to understand, you don't have a problem with Joe Biden being crooked, and you don't have a problem with Kamala Harris being crooked. And I'm glad that you finally admitted that. that you finally admitted that, because this is critical. The next thing is, so if you don't have a problem with crooked politicians, why do you have a problem with crooked people?
You losing me. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Crooked meaning maybe someone is in this country illegally. Why does that bother you? They broke the law. Okay, that means they're crooked. Why do you have a problem with them?
I told you what I have a problem with, and I told you what we were talking about. I know. Let me finish. I know when you're a politician. I know that's par for the course. I know a lot of them are lying to me.
Okay.
I know they're enriching themselves on the side. I know this.
Boom. All right, Boom. How about this?
Already.
I'm gonna move it on, because honestly, I don't think
this.
Boom. All right, Boom. How about this?
Already.
I'm gonna move it on, because honestly, I don't think I'm able to get this point across to you. But if this was a math class, right? And I said, well, what's 1 + 1? And everyone knows the answer is 2. And you turned in and says, well, I don't like that it's 2, so this is what I'm going to do. You would get the answer wrong, because that's how logic works. And what I'm trying to help you point out, what I'm trying to point out to you is, in one way or another, you have to come to grips with the fact that your logic model is broken. And until you actually fix it, you're going to continue to do what you're doing, which is blaming everybody else except yourself, because you can't have your cake and eat it. And this is why, unfortunately, I drive home the point the way that I do. It might sound like I was beating up on that previous guest, but what I was really trying to do is elevate his perspective to help him see how he really looks out here talking like that around a bunch of people who can actually think freely and think critically. You get what I mean? I truly understand the issue, which is you have people in the country here illegally, and they could be criminal and doing violent and harmful things. But I also understand it's still important that despite all of that happening, you still should strive to be a good person. Right. And I don't feel like a good person would subject human beings, regardless of their immigration status. I don't feel a good person should subject them to torture and kidnapping. It's off the table for me. I'm out. And you're not going to convince me that no amount of money in this country should make me compromise my belief system, especially when I understand that at one point in history, it was legally allowed for you and I to be treated like property. You're not going to convince me that we should go back to a point in time where that is now status quo. I'm sorry, but that's just how it is. Now, I got to move it on. All right. But I appreciate you being very, I want to say this. I believe you believe what you're saying. And I appreciate you honestly speaking how you really, truly feel, despite how wrong it is. Where did he go? And the reason that I appreciate you expressing how you truly feel is because this is the narrative we got to address as a country in order to move forward. So boom, thank you for being respectful and not over talking too much and using profanity and being a very nasty human being. But for the sake of what I do, I got to go ahead and get to judgment. Unfortunately, boom, the maggot demon has done a serious number on your mind, brother. You seem very intelligent, and you do seem like you strive to be a very good person. But here's the thing, boom. The maggot demon, it just takes your logic and it totally destroys it, and it doesn't allow you to be effective, especially when you're communicating about issues that you really are concerned about, because the one thing you'll never be able to do is help people like myself understand, how could you vote for a criminal and then turn around and say you have a problem with criminals? How could you vote for a man that you know is immoral, but then turn around and say you have a problem with immoral people? How could you say you have a problem with crooked politicians, or you don't have a problem with crooked politicians, but then you'll turn around and say, I have a problem with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden? It just doesn't line up. So unfortunately, brother, I got to do what I got to do. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and send Boom, who's battling. He's in spiritual warfare right now, and I'm hoping this will help him. Let's go ahead and send him where he belongs, straight to hell. Hopefully this purges the MAGA demon out of his black behind.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
And there's just so much to unpack in what he was saying. And this is why I love this show, because we get the opportunity to bring up other perspectives. Now, you saw what I did, but now it's time to get some real feedback. All right. And before I do, I want to address the comments in the section, because I know a lot of these Trump supporters, they're triggered right now. Maybe you didn't hear my warning at the top of the show.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
Hey, Takesha, how are you?
Hold on for a second, Zeus.
Oh, W Takesha, you didn't turn the camera on this morning. W Takesha.
Hey, Zeus, listen.
Yeah, talk to him.
I went to Walmart yesterday
Mm-hmm.
to get some groceries.
Right.
And I went through self-checkout. And as I was leaving the store, the police stopped me.
Oh.
And said that the cashier said that I had slid some things I didn't pay for. So they took my buggy and took me to the back, checked all my stuff. I did pay for all my stuff, and they said they were sorry. Now that's all I got was an apology, but it was embarrassing.
Yeah. Wow.
Now, Zeus, let me say this.
Wow.
That was not my actual story.
Oh.
That happened to somebody else. So boom shakalaka, you telling us that man came with truth, and we don't know if that was his real story about his wife working for a hotel and getting fired and the immigrants and all that. Cut it out. That could be somebody else's story that was told to him, and the person could have been lying.
Oh my God. Hey, you really made me feel for you like that. That was cold-blooded what you just
We don't know if these people telling their truth or somebody else's lie.
Lord have mercies. W to Keisha in the chat. You really took me there. Cause I'm sitting there processing that. I'm like, wait a second, what story is this? And you telling me you know how to make people really get into that really emotional state and vulnerable like that. That's pretty impressive, Takesha. I got to give you another round of applause. Wow.
And his outrage about Joe Biden and that crime bill. Everybody knows with common sense that Joe Biden did not write that bill.
Right.
I think they said it was written by a man named Jack Brooks, who was a representative of Texas. That's who wrote that bill. And from what I read, Joe Biden wrote the Crime Against Women's Act or whatever it was in the bill. That man did not write that crime bill. I want people to stop lying on that man. He did not tell the immigrants to come over. The reason they came over because the Republicans kept saying the border is open.
Amen.
If I want to go to a club and the club manager said the club is open, I'm going to get up and go, whether it's closed or not. But he said it was open, so I'm just going to follow his lead. They came because the Republicans said Joe Biden let the border wide open. If somebody says something wide open, guess what I'm going to do?
What you going to do?
Come.
Hey, man. Ooh! I see what you did when you said what you said right there, Takesha. Go ahead, keep it clean.
For the immigrants being over here, for all the lies they told to make sure they get over here so they can have a boogeyman to blame Joe Biden for.
That part.
That's what y'all do.
Thank you.
You're not concerned about the crime of the immigrants.
No, they ain't.
Cut it out.
Yeah, they're not concerned at all. And Miles, you can get upset with Takesha all you want, but you know she's telling the truth.
You think I'm upset him?
I mean, they cry when you get up here, Takesha. I don't know what you do to them or is it how you say it, but they get very, very upset when you start to actually call them out for the hypocrisy and for their lies. These people know that all
they got onions in their tail ducts when I get up in here. They don't do nothing but a bunch of crying and whining. I don't want to hear it.
She's not
if
racist.
The truth makes you cry, then baby, cry me a river.
W Takesha.
Cry me a river. I want you all to get on your knees.
Thank you.
Not for Donald Trump. But you get on your knees and you ask the Lord to remove that stronghold that Donald Trump got on y'all.
That part.
Ask the Lord to release y'all from the stronghold.
Hallelujah.
He is not the only person that is right, but that's how y'all act.
Yeah.
Everybody against this man.
Yeah.
Everybody. When a Republican don't agree with him, you call him a rhino. When people don't agree with him, you say they hating on him. You say they don't like him. The man is not perfect. The man is a liar.
Yeah.
The man has manipulated y'all.
Yep.
And y'all don't even see. It's embarrassing how much y'all loving this man. And he's giving you nothing to love him for. He had to take you on a steak dinner. He had to send you any roses. He had sofa sat with you. Yeah.
Sofa sat. There you go. That's a new one for you. All right.
Y'all ain't went to the movies.
Yeah.
But you're in love.
Yeah.
This man has wooed y'all from a TV screen.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
Takesha, could you speak on this a little bit? Because I like how you touched on it yesterday, and I've been meditating on it. These brothers out here, there's something going on. They got a lot of hate in their hearts. All right, because they are literally standing shoulder to shoulder with hate groups.
Zeus, I keep telling you, they just like the slave that was over the other slaves. They got to drive Massa around in the car. They thought they were important because Massa gave them a blazer that he no longer wanted so they could look decent when they drove Massa around.
Bam.
They think they're better than the other black people. And
driving Miss Daisy.
You're driving Daisy. You're driving Rose. You're driving Petunia. You're just driving everybody.
Wow.
And so you think you better. You think you got a leg up, and if you ain't got a leg up, you think they're gonna give you one. What hurt my feelings with that other guest?
King.
You said, what had the Democrats done? You got homeless vets and all that. Sir, you had the same thing when Republicans was in. So what's the difference?
Yeah.
Stop blaming the Democrats for what didn't happen under their time, and don't even blame the Republicans for what's not happening under theirs. There's still homeless vets on the street. What's Donald Trump doing about that?
Nothing. Taking away their benefits right now.
But you want to blame? You want to act like the only time veterans are homeless is when a Democrat is in office.
That part.
You keep saying the Democrats did nothing for you, but the Republicans hadn't either. Because from what I know, Democrats hadn't been the only people that's been in office until now.
That part.
You've had Republican presidents. You didn't get nothing under them. So why are you just blaming the Democrats?
That part. Because they hate themselves. And I know a lot of brothers that do this.
Self-hate, Zeus.
They do. And I didn't know it was an issue like this.
It's your fault if you don't make anything out of yourself. Stop blaming Democrats.
Thank you.
Stop blaming other black people.
Thank
when
you.
You got the same opportunity everybody else got. You're just lazy and you want it handed to you. Go out and work for what you got.
Thank you.
Nobody can say they gave you anything.
Thank you.
Stop
Thank
looking
you.
for somebody else to make you successful when you can make yourself successful.
W's to Keisha. Because we got to nip this in the butt right now. This business going on. What have the Democrats done for you? Look it up. You'll see all the things the Democrat Party has
They've
stood
done
for.
things to help us. What have the Republican Party done to help us? Told us to scrap up our boots, go get our own stuff. We don't need no leg up. We don't need no help to come up. So I don't know why you so fixated on the party that could care less if you drop unalive in the
There you go. There you go.
They'll kick you to the side.
There you go. W to Keisha. Yeah. See, there you go. This is what we got to do, and I appreciate you having.
Zeus, I would.
Can you hear me?
Zeus, I wouldn't date a blacker man if I was standing outside the sex store with it running down my leg. Being just that horny. I would say, hey, just let me be horny. I wouldn't date him.
W to Keisha in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. You can't make this stuff up, all right? I don't know how this show got to this place, but we here, all right? Again, thank you so much to Keisha. I truly do appreciate you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, let's give to Keisha another round. Yeah, no problem. No lies detected. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, it's a show of force this morning. And what we'll do is we'll keep the show rolling, ladies and gentlemen, all right? Because it's very, very important for us to get the truth out here. Okay, I was looking to see if Stacey decided to get the courage to come back, but Stacey didn't decide to get the courage to come back, so we'll move it along, ladies and gentlemen. Let me go ahead and bring up my good friend, Andrea. Welcome to the show, Andrea. Long time no see. Trump. They wrote Trump gang in the chat. Is there a Trump gang out there?
I'm sorry, Zeus. I had my volume down. Can you say that again?
I said, welcome to the show. Uh-oh. Where did you go, Andrea? Welcome back. Are you there? Is there a Trump gang out there? Oh, my God. Trump.
Yes,
okay.
There's a Trump gang, but I'm not in it.
Me either. And I would never sell my soul for Donald Trump, all right, or to him. But what do you got for us this morning?
I had a couple things. I'm working. So I'll be listening to you every day while I'm working. So
okay. Well, you do
a lot of your time. I had tagged you in a soundbite, and I have it on my other phone. And I want you to use this if you can, because this is really good. This is like a soundbite when Trump said, "If you tell him something long enough, and such, they'll believe
hard enough and strong enough,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah. It sounded violent when he said it. I remember hearing that, but that's how they like it like that. They like it rough.
But that's the thing is, like, with me, with that soundbite is the reason why these Trump supporters, they keep repeating the same garbage is because they keep going to X and reading these things and hearing these things, and then they believe it. And that soundbite, when they be trying to make up all these excuses, boom, that's exactly why.
Wow.
And that guy that was up earlier, what's his name?
Yeah.
His facts, he don't have any facts. He just be pulling them out of I don't know what, and the stuff he was saying had me like in tears. And I don't understand where he gets these things, but he was so wrong on everything he was saying, and
well, when you
was just going crazy.
when you hate yourself and you have low self-esteem, that's what you do. And I recognize that angle as well. And this is why it's important for us to continue to get out here and say and get the truth out here, right? We're not going to let people with low self-esteem get away with lying and going after people who are less fortunate than they are. No, you got to do the work just like every adult out here has to do the work. Case closed.
That's the thing. I feel like they lack empathy, Zeus. I believe that a lot of the stuff he was saying, like you said, they are okay with MAGA doing it, but when they're okay with them doing it, but they don't want to take accountability for voting for somebody that did those things, but then they want to always point at Biden and everybody else.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, no one has a record like Donald Trump. You can't compare anybody to that man. So when they do that, that really boils my blood, because he is not comparable to any type of, his record is just horrible. And you can't compare him to any president we have ever had.
Yeah.
And the fact that the racism is so dismissive to them, like they dismiss that.
The bigotry in them. Yeah, these people got a lot of bigotry.
I can't understand it. Zeus, like, how do you, like, what do you think about that? Because I'll be confused.
Yeah. That's why I say it's a strong demonic force. All right. And what Donald Trump does very well is he knows how to tap into the hatred, that people have in their hearts. And he knows how to weaponize it in a way to get people to actually do things that you and I both understand make absolutely no sense. Right. And a good example of this is, and Q Dog, he brings it up all the time. You had the Triple K's marching in Ohio, and you would ask brothers and sisters out here, do you support the Triple K? Obviously, they'll say no. Well, then why do you vote alongside them?
Right.
The only reason they do that is because of the hate in their heart and Donald Trump taps into it, and they say, well, you know what? You know what I got in common with the Triple K is my hatred towards those people. So you know what? We'll vote for them. It's sick.
It's sad at the same time, and the same way you feel about Blagga, I feel like a lot of us, we feel that. But it's when they get up there and they be talking, it's literally like my mouth sometimes literally I have to pick my jaw up off the floor.
Yeah.
Because for them not to see it like the way we see it, and for them to hate themselves, like you said, so much that they would sit there and vote against their own interests is literally baffling.
Yep. But you know what? We got to get this out and address it like we are doing, and this is why shows like this, as far as I'm concerned, Andre, are very, very important. All right, and again,
that's why I tune in every day, Zeus.
Awesome. Well, listen, I appreciate all you do. All right, and I don't want to take up too much of your time because I know you're a busy woman. All right, and we're gonna move it along. But ladies and gentlemen, again, let's show our good friend Andrea a huge round of applause. Let's give her a huge round of applause. No lies detected.
Thanks, Zeus.
You're welcome again to the brothers and sisters out there. I know Red Lady Red is still out there and she's listening and she's trying to wrap her mind around how she ended up in a situation like this. All the Blagga folks out there, I want y'all to understand, y'all are in a scary movie right now. And right now, all the warning signs are flashing and they're saying, run. Get away. Danger is coming. And if you're not looking and listening and paying attention, you'll see right now that a lot of people who voted for Donald Trump, like you, who were manipulated and, they still went along with it thinking he was going to do what he said he was going to do. they started to open up their eyes, whether it's because they've lost their jobs or whether their Social Security money all of a sudden is starting to act a little funny. Their Medicaid and Medi-Cal benefits are acting a little funny, and they're starting to go, we made a mistake. Let's correct, right? And they're running for the hills, but your special behinds are still sitting ducks. It's not going to end well for you blacks for Trump. I want you to know you heard it here first. It's not going to end well. When it is all said and done, just like he's turning on other Republicans in Congress, you have to actually start to think to yourself, if he'll turn on them, would he turn on me? If he would turn on Mike Pence, would he turn on your special behinds? Only you can determine. You can figure the answer out. But if you were to ask any one of us, we would say, duh, it's obvious that he would turn on anybody. And that includes you. So no amount of loyalty, no amount of shucking and jiving that you do for this man would ever change that. I just wanted you to know that, Matt, you blacks for Donald Trump. All right, let's move it along, ladies and gentlemen. We got to bring up our next panelist. All righty then, ladies and gentlemen. Who do we got? Good morning, Brother Santana. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. How we doing today, Zeus?
Oh, we're doing as good as we possibly can. You know, we're dealing with whatever we can. How about you?
Yeah, listen, I'm doing okay. Happy Liberation Day. All right, that's what Trump said. Today's the Liberation Day.
Yeah.
I don't know, Zeus. I've been listening, and like you just said something that really hit home, and you talked about how Trump is eventually going to turn on Blaga, right?
Yeah.
Turn on Mike Pence. I don't know if you saw this because this just broke. Politico was just reporting on it, but apparently Trump is kind of turning on Elon.
Oh.
Now, to be fair, they're saying that he's still pleased with them, but Trump is starting to tell his inner circle that Elon is preparing to step back because they feel like he's a liability to the campaign, liability to the races that they're running, and all of this. So, after that massive defeat they took yesterday in Wisconsin, and the fact that Tesla is down, Tesla took their largest decrease in sales. And I can't remember how long they said, but they're selling like 50,000 Teslas, down year over year by 27,000 Teslas.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's they're starting to eat themselves, Zeus. Like they're turning on each other.
Oh, wow. Wow. You mean he is starting to have second thoughts about his billionaire friend, Elon Musk, with all his baby mamas and all that money he's spending, all the free advertisement he's been doing, selling those Teslas at the White House. Now Donald Trump is starting to do what snakes generally do. It's snake behavior.
Yeah. I mean, like, Zeus, we understand who they are and what they're about, and if you are no longer useful, then they're gonna get you out of there, and that's what it really boils down to, and that's what you've been trying to get that across to Blaga, but they don't understand that. They think that, I voted for him, so I'm a part of the team. Like, what's the guy named Kendrick? I think it's Kendrick. He said, I'm a original founding member of Blaga. That's not something to be proud about. That's not, because you guys don't have any type of special position. You don't have any type of authority, and you're not going to get a seat at the table.
You're not.
So,
well, listen, Santana, as we continue to watch all of this unfold, do you think that these people out here who are continuing to support Donald Trump, do you think that they are happy right now with the way things are going? Today is Liberation Day. Do you know of any of them who's gotten a golden check? Any of you Trump supporters got a golden check yet from Elon Doge?
I think they're still waiting on those Doge checks. Like, at this point, it's such a sunken cost that they no longer speak. Zeus, you remember, like, before the election, and even like right after the election, when they would talk, they would stick their chests out, right? They would have so much bravado, like it would just be, but now when they speak, they're soft spoken.
Mm.
They're slow to speak, right? You talk to people like your guy
W
Dame,
and go ahead.
and speak
W
of your guy
and
like Dame, and Dame is more like, oh yeah, you're right, but still, but I still support. Listen, they understand what's happening, Zeus. They get it.
mm.
They get it. They know their
Yeah,
law.
yeah.
So
There you go. There you go. Well, listen. What we're going to do is we're going to continue to watch this ship sink. And there's going to be a great awakening, I promise you, when these folks out here who are still on that sinking ship, the water starts to touch them, it's freezing cold, right? And they go, oh my God, I need to find safety. And then they realize that they can't swim. And you know what's happening next? Hell will be their portion. Because they're going straight to hell.
Zeus,
Wait a second. MAGA owns you both. I'll never leave the ship. Oh, D, come on up here, D. If you don't mind, D, come up here real quick. That's a mighty bold statement, D.
It
He
is.
said, I'll never leave the ship.
well,
D,
you know, Zeus.
wow.
There's a lot of times where rats go down with the ship.
Big boy, you said you'll come up, send me a guest request then, all right? Any Trump supporter, you think that, you want to come up here and get it off your chest, you got to send me a guest request, big boy. I tried to invite you, but I can't send you an invite. Maybe there's something wrong with the account, but you can hit the pink and blue man, and what we'll do is we'll try to get this done real quick. It doesn't take long to debate Trump supporters, all right? And I mean, I'm not seeing a guest request, so obviously Big Boy learned that he's not such a big boy at the end of the day. He's just delusional. I get it. Fair enough.
Well, listen, in Zeus, it's easy to be keyboard warriors, right? I mean, when you can hide behind a mystery picture and you can hide in the chat and you don't really have to defend your words, you don't have to be accountable. You can be real bold, but it takes a lot to get in the box. And Zeus, that's why they don't do it. They're terrified.
Yeah.
When you know that you don't have any type of conviction, when you don't have any type of facts, when you don't have any cojones, you won't get in the box. That's why they don't come up, Zeus.
That part. Oh, let's see. Maybe after we continue to do what we do over here, some of them will actually get a little courage and decide to come on up here. All right, but you know what? I appreciate your brother for having the time this morning. I know you're a very, very busy person. Don't you have a battle coming up too?
Listen, tomorrow, me, Jessica Simone, we are battling 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. I don't battle, but Jessica Simone made it personal. She made it personal. And
all right.
So we're going to do it. We're going to show up,
all
we're going
right.
to show out, and I'll take all the support I can get.
All righty then. Well, listen, I'll be there to show support, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're following Santana. He does awesome lives as well. He does a better job than I do at some point, at least being when it comes to calling out Trump supporters. But the handsomeness, it will always remain with me, Big Zeus. I'm the most handsome on TikTok. Period. Case closed.
So, Zeus, you are definitely the most fair host on TikTok. Not even close. Not even close. Right? You're humble.
Mm-hmm.
But since we're in the kingdom, I won't say anything about the handsomeness. I would just say that my wife thinks that I'm handsome.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, I don't want any smoke with that. I don't want any smoke with that. But cat got your tongue. It still sounds like treason in the kingdom, Santana. All right, but I'm gonna let that slide. It still sounds like treason in the kingdom, Santana. All right, but I'm gonna let that slide. But ladies and gentlemen, don't do what he's doing, and that's Nutty. Nutty knows that as well. Talking about your handsomeness and trying to actually think you're more handsome than Zeus is absolutely one of the worst things you could ever do on this show.
I'm sorry.
All right, but you know what? Thank you again, Santana. All right, we're gonna move it on, brother. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and keep this show rocking and rolling, cooking and booking. All right, okay, all right, here we go. All right, Nutty, ladies and gentlemen, this is somebody that has a serious case of Zeus derangement syndrome sometimes. All right, but he's a good person when he doesn't allow it to manipulate him into thinking crazy things like he's more handsome than Big Zeus. But you know what?
So Zeus, I need to keep it clean. I need to keep it TikTok friendly.
Let's go.
So this is gonna go out to King and also Boom Shakalaka, also Dane. So you know what? Let me just stop naming names and just say this goes out to Blaga. Okay? And I'm gonna use my Mr. Rogers voice. I'm morphing into an old white man. Wop, 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 dot, fudge, up, wop, 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 wop. I'ma do my stuff. Why you trolling like a bleep? Ain't you tired? Trying to strike a chord, and it's probably, help me out, Zeus, A minor.
Lord, you just never know.
They not like us. They not like us.
You don't think they like us. Got it. You're right.
They not like us.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, Mr. Double H. That being said.
Did I catch Aaron? There's 3 H's, Nutty. You want to repeat that?
Honest, humble,
and I'll flee. No. And handsome. Hey, Nutty.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If you want to last long in this business, you gotta work on being way more truthful, all right, and actually being a lot more respectful as well. Because what you're doing, a lot of people would get into a lot of trouble. Honestly,
see, Zeus. See, you purposely did this. See, you're very calculating. You brought me up right after you invoked my name to Santana, right? You brought me up after Santana. See the trouble you caused. See, because I was going to come in and I was just going to be good today.
Yeah, but you got to work on that.
Good. So anyway, Boom Shakalaka. Let me get to it really quick.
Thank you,
ladies. So Boom Shakalaka. I need you to go pick up a Constitution. I need you to pick up and specifically read the 5th and the 14th Amendment. Those 2 amendments right there clearly speak about 2 words: due process. Due process. Takesha hit the nail on the head when she came in the box and she talked about Republicans telling people around the world that the border was open. So when Joe Biden came into the White House, what Joe Biden did, he started following the law. Because, the person previous to him, he is a lawbreaker.
Yeah.
We know this. He's a lawbreaker. So, when it came to our borders, because that's the boogeyman in the room, borders and DEI.
Yeah.
When it came to the border, what was the first thing Joe Biden and Kamala Harris did upon taking the oath of office? They asked for a comprehensive border bill.
I tried to explain that to him, but he clearly doesn't care. Isn't that something?
Then, Zeus, Joe Biden even stated he did not want to legislate by the pen. He wanted to legislate the way it was supposed to be legislated. He wanted Congress to get off their bum. And he wanted Congress to pass a bill that he could sign into law to make the law permanent. He wanted something that was going to be permanent. Executive orders are not permanent.
Thank you.
So I start twitching. I start breaking out in hives when Blaga or any other MAGA get in these boxes and talk about illegal immigration. Because you are a damn fool.
Amen. Do you hear this, Blaga?
Furthermore, I am incensed with these people because they can't see the forest for the trees. To sit here after knowing that Santana was right, because Dane, he'll get in here and he'll talk like this to you, Zeus.
Yeah.
Oh, I can agree with that, Zeus. But he just as complicit. Because Boom Shakalaka, absolutely, because I've schooled him in another life.
Oh, really? You've ran into this character.
He absolutely knows that Joe Biden did not write the 94 crime bill. The fact that he keeps lying, the fact that they keep lying, they meaning MAGA and Blaga, and if you identify, you like how I did that? Identify as a Republican, you keep lying about the 94 crime bill because you know that the people who listen to you and the people who support you are just as dumb as you. And they're not going to fact check anything you have to say. See, the difference between me and you, I don't care if I'm in Zeus's live, Andrew's live, whoever live I'm in.
That
I
part-
always say, don't believe me. Fact check me.
Yep.
Fact check me.
Yep.
And there have been times that I have been wrong, and I will eat it. I will own it. That's the only way you grow.
Yeah.
That
You
is
hear
the
that?
only way you grow.
And that's what this is really all about, MAGA. Unfortunately, y'all still haven't grown. I mean, y'all got stuck in what, 3rd grade perhaps? And this is where you're at now, where you believe Donald Trump's lies, despite all the evidence that tells you shouldn't. It's very, very sad.
Listen. Whew. I said I wasn't gonna get my blood pressure up, but so there's nothing that gets my blood pressure up more than Blaga. I literally have no patience for them. None.
There you go. Well,
because,
listen.
Hold on. I gotta get it out, sir. I gotta get it
Mandy, are you're saying crazy stuff in the chat, Mandy? If you don't mind, please come up
Mandy's
here.
never gonna come. Mandy's never gonna come up here. She doesn't have the female cojones to come up here. And so, yeah, Mandy, that was a direct hit. I'm calling you out. See, Zeus, you said earlier.
I got to be restrained.
Exactly. You said you got to be restrained. And I wrote in all caps in the comments, I said, I don't. I will take the hit for you, brother.
Thank you, Nutty. W Nutty for that. And all of them that really, yeah.
I will take the hit because I don't care about these accounts. You got me banned on my main? Fine. I'll make more. I'll make more mains. And guess what? I still managed to get the message out.
Mm-hmm.
I know you got people in the box. I'll see you later, brother.
All righty then, ladies and gentlemen. W's in the chat.
They not like us.
W's in the chat. I see you attacking. Let's go. Yeah.
One more thing. Boom Shakalaka and King, all those in favor of stripping their black card, please indicate by putting a 1 in the chat. Because I am the official black card taker.
Are we taking black cards today? Put a 1 in the chat.
We're taking black cards.
Oh, look at that.
Because I'm sick of people who look like us presenting to be us. But guess what Kendrick said, Zeus?
What? Oh.
They ain't like us.
W Nutty. And look at that. We got over 100. Well, hear ye. Today, on this day of the Lord, April 2nd, 2025, we hereby declare that we have now taken the black cards away from, who was it? Boom Shakalaka and King. They are no longer to go around this app and portray themselves or present themselves as black. They're no longer able to claim anything black. And as a matter of fact, their privilege that they may have had to actually at a certain point get reparations, it has been stripped of them, and they are hereby they're just vassals of transgression, and they're not black. Let's, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and send them straight to hell. It's revoked.
Silence.
There you go.
The next time you talk to King, tell him to stop living off his wife. It's funny how they get mad with the immigrants. It's funny how they get mad with them, but not the business owner who may have kicked them out because they saw more money that was gonna end up in their pockets. That's called capitalism.
That part. All right. Well,
It's
listen.
called capitalism.
Thank you. WW Nutty. Attacking called you Kirby, Nutty. You're getting into the live and you're sucking up his time. I think that's why he calls you Kirby. All right. Do we have any more Trump supporters out there, ladies and gentlemen? Please identify yourselves, and don't worry, we'll try to get you in and out as quick as possible. But you got to be honest. Good morning, Shay, the beautiful Shay. Welcome.
Hey, how are you?
I'm all right. Your friend Stacy, she was here earlier. She sent a guest request, but then she left. Do you have any clue what may have gotten her worked up this morning?
That's Stacy?
Yeah.
Oh.
She sent Big Zeus a guest request. I was willing to hear her out because she doesn't travel on this side of TikTok. And so, I was just wondering, do we have any news on that side perhaps that's gotten these people worked up? Are they now starting to realize that the Democrats were right? Is this what's going on?
I doubt it. She's so, as she says, lost in the sauce. She's often lost in the sauce, and no, she's never going to wake up from any of this.
Nasty.
And it's interesting. She got the nerve for a second to come on in, but you know what? She, you actually, she's a decent one on the right to talk to. I will say that.
Yeah.
She's always respectful and, whatever. She's not unhinged like so many of them, like her good friend. Why do I need to turn on my camera, PC? I've turned on my camera many times. Weirdo.
Yeah, they're
Anyway.
obsessed with you. You know that. They're so
Yeah.
obsessed with you.
You're welcome to go see all my videos if you want to see what I actually look like. I do lots of videos.
Yeah.
But, anyway, it's a free country. I don't have to do anything a man tells me to do, sir. Thank you.
Mods, do what
Yeah.
you need to PC. PC, if
Yeah.
you want to talk to us, send a guest request. Other than that, sit your special behind down and keep listening to the
It's a
special
little weird.
broadcast.
Women have freedoms now. We don't, get told what to do anymore. Just kind of want to wake
Yeah.
up to that. I know you voted for that. Put women in the kitchen and and it's been a great show, by the way. But it's just a little weird. Like when we think about, they claim to be a party of family values.
Oh.
And so you had a Freedom Caucus member leave the Freedom Caucus to bring forth a bill, basically, of saying that when we have a baby,
Oh, yeah.
can we vote by proxy?
Yeah.
Which means they pick a chosen person that they trust to vote for them so they can stay home with their children for 6 weeks.
Right.
And the Republican outrage, literally, and there are Republican women, which to me are so disgusting sometimes. They're almost worse than the men to me, because you're signing up against your own selves.
Yep.
Like Nancy Mace, and so many of them are Marjorie Taylor Greene, and saying, if you sign up to do this job, then if you have a baby, you need to suck it up and come in, right?
Wow.
I mean, so this is what you guys need to understand what MAGA is about, right? They don't want women working. So, and they're the worst. They don't want women working. They're not about family values. If you have a child, you're supposed to stay home with them, not work. You can't have it both ways. You can't be in the workplace and be you can't do that.
Yeah.
There's no liberation for women on that side. Absolutely not. So you're supposed to take your 4-day-old infant on a plane to go vote?
And these people are pro-life, right?
Right. Because God forbid you decide, I'm not ready to be a parent, or there's a problem with your pregnancy.
Yeah.
You're not able to make decisions with your partner, your husband, your doctor. None of all those rights. You're to suck it up and have this child born however it's born and when it's born, or what your situation is financially, or whatever your situation is by support. There is no freedom of choice for women on that side. And I don't know how conservative women don't see what their party is doing and how bad it's become when you have a Freedom Caucus woman that was deep into the sauce on this stuff, because that's far right. Freedom Caucus is like way over.
Yeah.
Okay. For her to leave it and say, listen, you've been telling me all along you're a party of family values, and now you're forcing me to leave my young child that is breastfed, right, to come to vote.
Yeah.
We're talking 6 weeks. Even leaving a child at 6 weeks is traumatic for women. This is a hard decision.
Yep.
Women have to make, and they were voted into office. And a lot of them weren't even pregnant at the time that they were voted into office. I
Wow.
understand if you're wanting to stay home with your kids and you want that flexibility, and you're pregnant and then you decide to run, maybe I could see your point. Because it is a decision that you had to know before you had the child, that I'm going to have to do this job if I win.
Yeah.
I get that, but I honestly think because they know that AOC will at some point want to have children, that there's a lot of young women on the Democratic side. So I think that they're really leaning towards like punishing the Democratic young women like Jasmine Crockett, AOC, and I think that's kind of where it's coming from. But
yeah.
I just find it disgusting that that's what they're doing.
So where are the Trump supporters out there that support this hatred towards women at? Because, I had the guy get up here and you heard that brother, I think it was Boom Shaka. He said, there aren't Americans hurting women right now. And this story that you just shared with us is another example of how that statement is clearly a lie. Donald Trump and his administration, their policies right now are harming women all across the country. And it'll be these same so-called brothers, these same so-called men that will get out here and say, you know what they'll say, Shay? You know what they'll say? They'll say this.
I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. I'm going to protect them.
Yeah, so gross.
That's what they act like, and they think that we all are going to go along with them when they say that. No, you're not protecting a woman when you're laying in a hotel on the under because she gave you access to a room on the under. That's not protecting a woman.
That was so weird. Your anger needs to be towards DeSantis and Abbott, who basically trafficked those people up there, didn't send them money and trafficked them up there in the middle of the winter. So we're supposed to all of a sudden figure out what to do and then figure out where to house them. It happens. And it was only a short period of time that happened. But they didn't go up to New York like that. They were sent up there. So, but y'all don't want to talk about the trafficking. You don't want to talk about the political stunts, which you fell for, by the way. Every time y'all talk about immigration and the illegals and you fell for all of that nonsense.
Yeah.
And then he literally said stuff like, have you noticed how many women have been unalived? But how many? You get all about Lake and Riley, but you never talk about Molly.
Oh.
You never talk about what happens to women under the Trump administration.
Oh.
On Lake and Riley, which we all agree was a horrible situation.
Correct.
And when we talk about Lake and Riley, we understand, and God bless her family, and it was absolutely horrific. But what about all the women that are being hurt right now, this minute, by American men, by citizens born in this country? White men are the number one perpetrators against women. White men.
Wow.
And you guys are sitting over here like, yeah, he came in under the Trump administration. Why don't you look up Lake and Riley's unalivers record? He came in originally under Trump.
Yeah.
Oh, he closed the border. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. We're still getting numbers back and forth. You guys are like,
wow.
It's closed. You can't close the border. How do you think you get your avocados?
Amen.
The border's not closed. You literally think it's like this iron curtain or something weird that nothing goes back, and people go back and forth across that border every day for work. You guys don't even understand this stuff, and you're so transfixed because I think you have this innate need to hate on someone to make yourself feel better. Somewhere there's this privilege in there that you just want to have, and it makes you feel better to think of people, human beings, and yet you also tag yourself with the Christian label.
Wow.
It's weird to me. It's
wow.
Weird. It's like you need to get your minds checked. And Boom Shaka, all this stuff you were spewing out of your mouth were
exactly.
lies. Show me evidence that Biden ever hung out with the Triple K. Show me that evidence. I want to see that.
If you could.
How in the world would 92% of black women vote for a man if there's any evidence he hung out with the Triple K?
Exactly.
Are you insane?
Exactly. W Shay in the chat. These people are nothing but known liars on TikTok, Shay, but you did an outstanding job this morning, honestly.
I love you guys. It's been a while, and I love your show as usual, my friend.
All right. Well, listen, I appreciate you taking time out of your very busy morning to come hang out with us. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give the beautiful Shay another huge round of applause. All right. No lies detected. All right, ladies and gentlemen, look. As you can see, we've made it to that point in the show where Big Zeus has to get up out of here, all right? It's not that I don't want to spend more time with you, but you know what? We got other affairs to tend to in the kingdom, all right? But I want to give all of you who hung in there this morning a huge round of applause. Your support means everything, all right? But also what I want to do is we got to give one last round of booze and shame, and you know exactly who this goes out to. This goes out to each and every single one of you Zeus haters out there. You know exactly who you are. Once again, you don't have anything to actually hang your hat on and say that Donald Trump is doing to help you. And I've talked for over 2 hours, another day, talking to you and nothing, which is proof positive that you know this Trump administration is definitely the most incompetent, and it's the worst administration we have ever seen. Today is supposedly Liberation Day, but not one of you went to your mailbox and opened up the mailbox and pulled out a golden envelope for $5,000. It's a check signed by Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Y'all are still waiting for it like some plumb dumb fools. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what we got to do. Let's give it one last round of, you guessed it, booze and shame.
Silence, you MAGA demon.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Miss Silk, did I get this correctly? Miss Silk, is it your birthday today? If so, you know what? We're going to give you a round of applause. I think that's what I'm getting. It's your birthday, I think. All right. If not, you know, sorry, I may be getting the wrong information, but I want to give you another shout out. All right. Because you do a lot to help us. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's Miss Silk in the chat. She can't come up, but what we're going to do is say happy birthday to her. Thank you so much for all you do. Seriously, you put up with so much out here, Miss Silk, and it's very important that we have people like you standing in the gap and stopping Donald Trump, all right? And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, guess what? We are out of here. Make sure you all do me a huge favor. Take care and stay safe out there in those TikTok streets. Don't do nothing I wouldn't do, all right? Alrighty then. All right, let's get up out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my gosh, my computer is totally it's totally acting up. Oh my god, where are we at, ladies and gentlemen? Oh my gosh. Let's see. Oh my god. Look at this. Where am I at? Let's see. Do we have it here, ladies and gentlemen? Oh my gosh. Bear with me. You know I like to go out with a bang, but if I can't get it, you know what I'll do? I'll do it like this. Sorry, technical difficulties. Again, happy birthday, Mrs. Hill. And anyone else whose birthday it is. Alright, sorry it's on Liberation Day. W, Nadine. Let's go. Hey, Tiny Tank Top Tim. You see these? You see these Tiny Tank Top Tim? They're Nike glasses, and they're called the Zeus Edition, alright? And I know you hate this Tiny Tank Top Tim, but you know what? That's what I wanted you to do. Both of them are actually Zeus Editions, alright, ladies and gentlemen? Y'all have a great rest of your morning. Alright? Yeah, they are. They're Zeus Edition sunglasses, alright? And I did this, you know, Tiny Tank Top Tim. I said, he's going to get so upset with me. I'll be back on my main account tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and do some drill, baby drill, and then we are out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go.
Kamala Harris is a radical left Marxist. She can't help it. But we're going to end
some drill, baby drill, and then we are out of here.
Frack, and drill, baby, drill.
We're going to be drilling.
Drill, baby, drill. We're going to be drilling so deep. We're going to be
W, sneaky fingers.
We're going to take out.
You want me to lower those taxes? All right, we'll do that. All right, Barbara.
We're going to lower your taxes to insane asylums. You know, they go crazy when I say the late great Hannibal Lecter.
Thank you.
Drill, baby, drill. We're going to frack. Drill, there's a frack. There's a baby, there's a lesson for your energy. You know she's gonna bang. You know she's gonna bang you. Up in there, she was against all the stuff. And all the stuff. And then all of a sudden, about a year to half ago, when she was getting
killed in the pack, she said, I like fracking very much. Look, they always go back to what they want. They always go back. She can't help it. She's a radical. She can't help it. And we're gonna end that dolphin.
And drill, baby, drill. We're gonna drill, baby, drill. We're gonna be drill. So deep. We're gonna be for these guys. We're gonna drill.
We're gonna lower your taxes. Deep insane asylum.
We know they go crazy when I say the late great Hannibal.
Drill, baby, drill. We're gonna frack. Drill, baby, drill like it's Hannibal Lecter. You all are so amazing. Listen, keep up the great work. Let's go.
Insane asylum.
Here it goes.
You know they go crazy when I say the late great Hannibal Lecter.
They say, why would you mention Hannibal Lecter? What are we gonna do?
We're gonna lower your taxes.
That part.
Deep insane asylums.
You know they go crazy when I say
the late
great Hannibal.
Drill, 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 baby, drill.
Let's go. Let's go. Lower your taxes. Deep insane asylums. You know they go crazy.
When I say the late great Hannibal.
Hit it. Drill, drill.
Drill, baby, drill. We're gonna be drill. Drill, we're gonna drill.
Drill, baby, drill like it's Hannibal Lecter time. We're gonna lower your taxes. Deep insane asylums. You know they go crazy when I say. How much do you owe on that house? Oh, okay, you owe $200,000. Don't worry. We'll pay off your debt. All right. And what we're gonna do? You owe some taxes. Don't worry. We'll pay off your taxes soon. Because guess what we're gonna do, baby? What we're gonna do is drill, and drill, baby, drill like you wouldn't believe. Because after that, we're gonna frack. All right. Because guess what? There's so much liquid gold underneath our feet, and all we gotta do is drill, baby, drill. All right, ladies and gentlemen, take care and stay safe out there in those TikTok streets. Don't do nothing I wouldn't do. We are out.